Like this. Hit it.
The Roger Report live morning show. Weekdays at 9 a.m.
Say y'all, I was on Roger's panel a few times and I couldn't take it. The heat. I got out the kitchen. It was hot. I was sweating. I had to get out.
He's Roger, and he's right.
Check this out.
Agreement by which we can live or die. You choose. I have spoken to you a lot of times in hatred and anger, and you have not heard me. Well, you had better hear me today. If you won't listen to me when I make an appeal for the Negroes because you have no concern for the Negroes, listen to me when I make an appeal for America. You claim you love America. Well, we love America. But you are driving us back and you are making a Samson out of us, and we are going to pull down the pillar. And then you think we have no right to ask for something? Is it too much to ask you to grant us human dignity? Should we be put down and shot to death for this request? If so, you can aim your guns. What the hell do you think we care about dying if you're going to deny us the right to live?
Good morning, folks, and welcome to another edition of the Roger Report Live, the best show on social media. If you are new to the channel, go ahead and take a moment out to hit that like button, because this is where you're going to find the best content on social media. And you don't have to worry about it because you're going to have me right here to make sure that happens. And if you already been coming to the channel for a while, then go ahead, hit that like button, because you already know what time it is. And you know that this is where you're going to get the best content on social media. It's not a mystery to you at this point. You've seen other people do it. You've seen other people do it well. But what you have not seen is anyone do it quite the way I do it. So make sure you hit that like button. And everyone, yes, everyone, take a moment out, share the content, y'all. Share the content. There are so many people who need to get great content like this. And it's just a small thing you can do to help the world be a better place. And isn't that what we want at the end of the day? Don't we want the world to be a better place? Of course we do. So share the content out. Share it through your social media. Share it through word of mouth, or even text someone's phone. But do what you got to do to help spread the word. All right, folks, today we are going to be talking about another great and interesting subject. We're going to be talking about how long a woman can be good and single. Yes, y'all. Something that really needs to be dealt with. Yo, amongst black folks in America, you know, of course, there's things in other places around the world, but amongst black folks in America, this is something that really needs to be dealt with. People need to really take this seriously about how long a woman can be good and single. Okay. Yes, I'm talking about the two things, good and single. But before we go too far into this, first of all, I got to give credit what credit is due. And I got to shout out to people who look out for me, y'all, because I cannot do things the same way without certain group of people who step up to the plate, you know, put something on it, and they give a financial contribution to the Roger Report Live, because these people are definitely necessary for me to do it like this. And I appreciate every single one of them. So I got to say shout out to my main man, Grinch. He is the sponsor of today's stream. Shout out to him. Y'all know he puts in a lot of good work as well. So always good to get some support by him. So shout out to Grinch, the sponsor of today's stream. Shout out to that brother. Shout out to that brother. And I appreciate everyone who makes a financial contribution to the Roger Report Live, because Yeah, big or small, I do appreciate it all. Real talk, y'all. Big or small, I do appreciate it all. Now, let me give some shouts to some of the first people to check in this morning. If y'all don't know how it goes around here, well, there can only be one. And you got to make sure you're that one at some point. Okay. You got to make sure you're that one. So shout out to my main man, Afro Merchant, y'all. He is what we like to call around here, around these parts, the Highlander of today's stream. So shout out to Afro Merchant. He is the Highlander of today's stream. First one in to check it out. And of course, he's being followed by some great guys. So shout out to Mr. Suge to you. The Saute Sheriff is in the building. Glad to see him. Glad to see him. Glad to see you here. We got President 48 United States is in the building. Glad to see you, brother. Tunnel Runner is here checking in. Good to see you. The Righteous Teacher is in the building. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. The Deputy on the Grill is here. Shout out to J Dub, who's pulled up a seat at the cool table this morning. Sarah B is here. She's quote unquote head of the class. Okay. She's coming in at the very beginning. Hey, Sarah. Nice to see you, of course. Nice to see you. My main man, A.L. Evans, is in the house. What's going on, A.L.? Yay. Good to see you in the building. Good to see you. Boot Camp checking in. What's up, Boot Camp? Glad to see you. Glad to see you. Inspired Truth Broadcast is here. What's going on, man? What's going on? Good to see you all. Good to see you all. Y'all, and I'm going to get this started because, shout out to Michael Watson checking in. This is a subject matter that really needs to be dealt with because there's a lot of bad information out there, and there's a lot of dumb women telling other young ladies to be just as dumb as they were. Okay, and let's just keep that real. It's a lot of dumb women telling young ladies to be just as dumb as they were. All right, and that's not good if it goes unchallenged. We see what it has gotten us at this particular point. We got a bunch of single women out here, and we got a bunch of single mothers out here. Okay. But black women are basically single. Okay. Let's keep it real, y'all. Black women are generally single. Black women are the group of women in America that, for the most part, nobody wants to invest in. Okay. Now, we did see K. Michelle in that clip that came from Cam Newton's show yesterday, and she said something about black women being the most unloved. She said something about that. I'm not going to say she's wrong because based on the numbers, when you're the most single, if somebody wants to make an argument about who's the most unloved, that is a very great thing to use to say you're the most unloved. But at the end of the day, it's their own fault. Okay? Yeah, it's their own fault. And black women do spend too much time trying to be victims instead of somebody worth caring about. Okay, if black women would put work into being somebody worth caring about the way they put in work trying to be a victim or have some victim narrative, they would be much better off. So I can't say she was wrong about that little piece. Are black women the most unloved? It's hard to argue that they're not. Okay, I'm not going to even front. And I know that could be a thing for people. And I know she said it to get some sympathy, but my thing is, it's true, but that don't mean you're going to get sympathy over it. Yeah, you probably are the most unloved group of women in America. You probably are. Because, folks don't want to marry y'all. I get that. Okay. Most black women I come across, I don't want to marry either. So I totally understand it, Now, does that mean people don't want to see black women get married? No, there has never been a fight in this country to see black women not get married. That has never been a fight. Okay? That has never been an actual fight. Now, is it a consequence of other stuff going on? Sure it is. But it's not like people are going out their way to stop black women from getting married. Truth be told, the people they don't want to get married is black men. If we be real about it. Okay? Now, it just so happens that other groups of men aren't interested in marrying black women at any large rate. I mean, but it's normal for a person to want to marry somebody who looks like themselves, which means if you are Chinese, you probably want to marry a Chinese person. That's a normal thing. Okay, that's normal. If you are a white man, you probably want to marry a white woman. That's normal. If you're a black man, you want to marry a black woman. That's normal. And see, the thing is, you can say this about a bunch of people, but when you get to black men, a lot of people say, well, black men don't want to marry. No, according to the stats, black men do want to marry black women because about 85% of every black man who's married is married to a black woman. So therefore, black women are the primary choice of black men. You know, so black men don't have the issue about marrying a black woman. Now, black women do have a issue with men in general not wanting to marry them. All right. Now, how do we deal with this situation? Well, we're gonna have to look at some hard stuff, y'all. We're gonna have to look at some hard stuff. Now, this is gonna be good for black men and black women when we look at some hard stuff and deal with what it is. You know, we got to look at how long can a woman be good and single? Because let's keep it real. Everyone wants to marry a good woman. No man is intentionally trying to marry a woman that he perceives as bad, because a bad woman can be a lot on a man's life. If a relationship goes south, you know, it's going to go south for the man for the most part. Okay. I'm not going to say a woman can't suffer, but let's keep it real. If a marriage goes south, it's usually going to go far more south for the man than it is for the woman. If it's a relationship that hasn't got to marriage yet and it goes south, it's probably going to go far more south for the man than it will for the woman. But of course, people want to marry a good person. So, y'all, this is the thing. Well, we need to take a mature look at what's going on in the real world to figure out what the plan is. Okay. Now, I am speaking of women who are 18 years old and they have graduated high school. Okay. Because when you're 18 years old, you are an adult. Now, some people will be 18 before they get out of high school, some people will not. Okay. But when those two things come together, you really are supposed to start your life journey as an adult and what you're going to do. And by that time, you're supposed to have an understanding that the decisions you make will have an impact on your life for a long time. Okay. Ain't no getting around it at the end of the day. Some people will say that, you know, we're prepared for it. Some people are going to say we're not prepared at 18. Don't make a difference, because that's when the legal system sees you as an adult. So if we really have an issue with that, then we need to raise up what an adult is from a legal situation. But until that happens, we got to deal with 18. Okay. So that means at 18 years old, you need to know everything you need to know for the rest of your life. And people may say, well, that's not fair. Well, life ain't fair. When did anybody tell you life was going to be fair? When did anybody tell you that? Okay. You know, now, of course, amongst black folks, especially, you have a lot of hoes telling young ladies, you shouldn't get married soon. You need to know yourself. You want to do this and you want to do that. A lot of hoes do say that. Let's keep it real. And I'm using that term on purpose because it is a lot of hoes that give that advice to younger women. But at some point in time, we got to get realistic about what's real. Okay, we got to be realistic about what's real, because it being real is just not enough. You got to be realistic about what is real. When a woman who is 18 years old and she has now completed high school, okay, she has options that she can do. Okay. And if you live in America, she can do the same thing men can do. That's why it's sad that you got so many men feeling sympathy for women. Like, what is it that they can't do that we can? Because as a man, you're supposed to you got to make a choice. You got to go get a job. You got to go start a business. You got to go to the military, or you got to further your education by going to college or some trade school. These things are not cut off to women. They can do these things too. So they have options as well. But they also have an option of getting married to a man and just being a housewife. That is their option as well. So not only do they still have the housewife option, they also can do all the stuff men can do now. So they got choices. Now, the thing is, we have to be realistic. If a woman is 18 years old and she's graduated high school, what is she going to do beyond that point that's going to help her be a good wife to a husband? And very few things she can do. Now, of course, men are looking to marry good women. Now, I've told y'all before, the three main things men are looking for when it comes to a woman to marry. They are looking for loyalty, good character, and good company. You can add other things to that, and the woman's just better. But if you remove any of those three central things, the woman trash automatically. Okay, she's trash automatically. She can be fit, but if she's not loyal, who cares that she's fit? Okay, she trash at that point to you. Let's keep it real. Nobody wants to marry the woman who's not loyal. No one wants to marry the woman who doesn't have a good character, and no one wants to marry the woman who's not good company. Yeah, how do you marry a woman that you can't stand being around? You know, wives and husbands, even though people act like it don't happen, they actually like being around each other. Husband and wives like being around each other. Now, I'm not saying they're going to be around each other 24 hours a day, but in general, they do actually like being around each other. It's one of the reasons they got married in the first place. But we got a bunch of old hoes telling young ladies, you know, you should go do X, Y, and Z as if that's going to help them get married to somebody one day. And what are they doing? They're telling them to do things that's going to make them a worse wife. All right. What man needs his woman used to listening to everybody but him? That's not going to be good for any husband. Let's be realistic about it. That won't be good for any husband. So, yeah, she can go get a job. I ain't tripping about her getting a job. But when a woman gets used to listening to any man but you, that's not going to be helpful to anybody if they're trying to be the husband of this woman. That's not helpful to him. Okay. There's some women who say, well, I'm going to go pursue my education. Well, if you're going to pursue your education, I don't see the big deal. There's a whole lot of other folks who get an education and get married at the same time. It's a lot of folks who come out of college. Yeah, I know it's not promoted a lot, but there are people still coming out of college who are already married. They got married while they were in school. Okay. And then there's a lot of people who get engaged while they're in school. And I'm talking about college now. Okay. They're getting married or engaged to while they're actually in college. Why? Because their family is a priority to them. Okay. What's the point in going to college if you're a young lady? If you coming out and don't got a husband? And if you don't have a husband, why not a fiance? Now, I'm just saying this because realistically, if I was a woman, or let's say I had a daughter, why would I want my daughter to go to college? Okay, so why do people normally go to college? The goal when you go to college is to be able to position yourself to make more money than other people who are going to be in the workforce. Let's just keep it real. That's what the goal is, to position yourself where you can make more money than other people who didn't go. That's the whole thing about college. How can I position myself to make more money than the people who didn't go? Well, if you're going to do all that, well, if you're a young lady, that means you're going to a location with men who are trying to position themselves to make more money than other people. So why would you not want to get married while you're in school? Or why would you not want to at least have a fiance before you come out of school? You're literally in a concentrated area of men trying to put themselves in position to earn more money than the men that go. Now, I understand just because you go to college does not necessarily mean you're going to out earn men who didn't. I get that. But that's a concentration of men who going to probably do well. Nothing is guaranteed in life. But these are men who are going to probably do well. So as a man, why would you tell your daughter not why would you tell your daughter it's okay for her to go to school to get an education, but not impress upon her it is not okay with her to come out of college with a fiance? If not a husband, why not a fiance? Okay? Because I'm just being realistic. If I got a daughter and I don't want to take care of my daughter forever, okay, I'm going to look out for her while she's a minor, of course. When she goes to college, of course, you're still going to look out for your daughter realistically. I don't want to take care of my daughter forever. So what would I want to do? I would want my daughter to be with a man who's willing to take her on and make sure she's good for the rest of her life. Because I plan on dying before she does. Okay? I ain't saying it's got to be anytime soon just because she got out of college, but I do plan to die before my daughter does. What man wants to die before his daughter? So what do I want as a man? I want a man that I believe is good, so a man that I would approve of to take my daughter on and have her be his wife. That's what I would want. And why not choose from the men who went to college? Again, nothing is guaranteed, but it's a lot. It's a much easier choice to make if the man is actually in college. You know, now I'm not saying she go to college and deal with somebody who didn't go. You know, but if you're gonna go to college and you're a single woman, why not mess with somebody who's already there? At least they're trying. That's what I know about those guys. At least they're trying. Okay. So now the thing is, how long is college gonna last? Okay. You talking around 21, 22. People getting out of college. Okay, you're going in about 17, 18 years old. You're coming out around 21, 22. Now, you may go to graduate school. Some people ain't going to necessarily go to graduate school. Depends on what people are trying to do. But by that time, I would want my daughter to already be at least engaged. And I'm talking about an actual engagement where we going to make some things happen. And there's a lot, and things are a lot easier at that time too. Why? Because if you get married right after college, you ain't got to spend a bunch of money on it. Now, me being a father, of course, I would take care of my daughter's wedding. All right. It is what it is. I wouldn't mind paying to get a wedding taken care of and somebody going to take her off my hands and I ain't got to worry about her no more. As a father, that sounds like a good deal to me. I pay for this wedding and some young man got to take my daughter off my hands. Sounds good to me. Y'all know how children can be, and y'all know how they can make bills at any random moment in time. Okay, so it sounds good to me, to pay for a wedding, so some dude to take my daughter off my hands. Okay, if it's a good dude, why do I care? Because people may say, "Well, hey, why you saying it like that?" Because I'm saying it in a realistic way. If he's a good dude, why would I care? Take her. Okay, I didn't do what I was supposed to do with her. You take her now. Now, of course, I would train my daughter up in a way that she will understand there's a lot of things you're going to have to do because you're going to have a husband one day. That's the way I would raise my daughter. Okay. The girls that I'm exposed to, I do them the same way. You got to do this because you're going to have a husband one day. You do that because you're going to have a husband one day. You do this so you have a husband one day. I always push that. Okay. Point blank, period. I don't believe it's okay to be around little girls and not give them an expectation that they're going to have a husband one day. But of course, when you give them, if you're going to give them that expectation, there should be lessons to go with it. And guess what? She should be thinking it's a normal thing to make room for her husband. Now, if you look at a lot of black women nowadays, of course, they haven't done this, so they're not married. Now, the thing is, y'all, we got to ask ourselves questions, like real questions. How long can a woman be good if she's not married? She's 18 years old. She's graduated high school. She's supposed to start doing stuff that's going to affect the rest of her life. We should understand this at this particular point. Okay. Now, I put a late clip in of a woman, and she was saying herself that guys will ask her, you know, does she have kids? And she'll say no, and they'll be somewhat surprised or whatever. Then they would say, is something wrong with you, basically? Are you crazy? And the way she responded, you knew the answer was yes. Of course I'm crazy. I ain't got no kids, and I'm still single. I'm 28 years old. Why would you expect me not to be crazy? That was the attitude she gave. Now, my thing is, that makes all the sense in the world to me. She 28 years old. She ain't got no kids. She not married. Yeah, it all makes sense. Okay, it all makes sense. Now, the clip could have been a joke. Okay, I'm gonna say that the clip could have been a joke. Maybe it was satire, but even if it was satire, that fits a lot of women, whether they want to realize it or not, whether they want to accept it or not. It fits a lot of women. If you are 28 years old, you have no children, and you are unmarried, yeah, that's a problem there. It just is what it is. Now, I've said before, a young lady should be married by 22. That's just being realistic. She should know how to be a wife at 18. She should be a base model wife at 18. You're not gonna get all the luxury stuff, okay? She gonna be a base model wife, okay? She may not be able to do nothing high tech for you, but she should at least be a base model wife at 18 years old. Now, a young lady should be married by 22 years old. All right. If you're still unmarried as a young woman, you've already met all your options at the age of 25. If you didn't get it by 25, it's not in the cards. It is what it is. 30 years old, you're just an official loser at that point. If you didn't get married and you've made it to your 30th birthday, you're just an official loser at that point. I don't need to second guess anything about you at that time. I don't need your explanation. And this is hard for some women when I explain this to them, that if you make it to 30 years old and you're unmarried, that you're a loser. This is hard for some women to take. And I think a lot of us need to start spreading this around, because you need to give girls expectations. And you need to make the older women who are going to be upset about it understand, I don't need to know your backstory if you made it to 30. I'm not saying you don't have a backstory. I'm not telling you that your backstory to you is invalid. Okay, to you, that backstory is valid. But if you made it to your 30th birthday and you ain't married, you a loser. It is what it is. Now, when you're ready to accept that you're a loser, I probably can start sharing with you different ways you can operate to win. Now, once you're an official loser, how do you become a winner? Somebody got to marry you. That's it. Ain't no other way. Somebody got to marry you. If won't nobody marry you, you just a loser. Now, you may be a loser for life, and that's okay. You're going to have to learn to deal with that. And we're going to have to encourage women to learn to deal with the fact that they're going to be a loser for life sometime. But if you're not going to accept that you're a loser, how am I supposed to teach you how to win? And see, and this is where men have a huge advantage. We start learning we losers when we were kids. You start finding out you're not the fastest runner. Okay, you can't win the race all the time. So you're going to lose at that, which means what? You got to improve. You're going to find out that you can't catch the ball all the time. Why? Because y'all out there playing football. Somebody throwing you the ball steady touch your hands, but you can't pull it in. You understand? I got to do something different. This ain't working for me. See, men deal with a lot of different stuff that teaches us that we got to actually improve ourselves if we want to be at, standard performance level, whatever we're dealing with. We want to be at a standard performance level. Nobody wants to be the guy that never gets picked. Okay. We don't want to do it in a physical way. We don't want to be the last person picked when we about to shoot some hoops. nor in an academic way. You don't want to be the last person picked. With if there's a group project to be done, you don't want to be the last person picked to be in the group, because that means you're the dumb one. That's the perception of everybody else around you. We're not picking you to be in our group because we think you're the dumb one. And if we take you on as the dumb one, that means we got extra work to do. Men don't like getting picked last. It just is what it is. But we also understand it is us to fix ourselves so we won't get picked last. You know? Because one day we'll be trying to get picked for a job. Okay? One day we may want to own a business, and we want the customers to pick our company over somebody else's. You know? Now, we may not get picked when it comes to relationships, but we do get picked in other areas, and we understand the importance of being the first choice when possible. Most women have no idea that there's an importance to getting picked. And I'm going to tell you how a lot of black women especially don't have no real clue. Because black women hate black men so much on a general level, they start calling women who are black, who are picked by black men, pick-me's. Black women see it as an insult to get picked. Now, I understand that was their way of saying nigger lover without using the term nigger lover. If y'all don't know it, that's what happened. Black women started calling women pick-me's, and it was a coded way to say nigger lover. But the thing is, it was them who came up with that language of pick me because they think getting picked is an insult. Now, think about that. Because there's a lot of people going to say, well, a woman's not a loser just because she's 30 and unmarried. They don't even think getting picked is a good idea. How they not losers? Okay? how they not losers? This their own language that they came up with. This their own thing. Well, if that nigga pick you, you'll pick me. Blah, 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 ha, ha, ha. They don't even understand the importance of getting picked. What wife is going to be a good wife if she don't understand the importance of being picked? Think about this, y'all. So now the thing is, and I'm using this stuff to help a lot of men out, because you need to explain this to women you deal with. You need to explain this to your daughters, your nieces, your granddaughters, whatever women you care about. Because every woman wants to think she's good. Let's just keep it real. One of the hardest things to do is to get a woman to get a woman to admit she's not a good person. That's one of the hardest things that there is to do. It doesn't make a difference what our situation is. Women make all kinds of ridiculous excuses about all kinds of stuff. A woman will have 4 kids by 4 different men. Okay? A woman will be living, off the government, some type of Section 8 deal, getting food stamps, all kinds of stuff. Ain't had a job in years, if ever. All right? The men she got pregnant by, she don't even talk to because she don't like them, quote unquote. And she will still see herself as a good woman. Think about it. Now, you could take the opposite end. You could have a woman who went to college, got a degree. Maybe she even became a lawyer. Okay? May even have her own law firm doing a lot of great work, quote unquote. Okay? But might be a total a-hole to people. Might be a snob. Might look down on people all the time. You can't convince either one of those women that they're not good. One gonna say she's good because I got my degree and I got my own business. I'm doing X, Y, and Z, and I'm a lawyer. And she may think she's a great person. Now, she's an absolutely terrible person to be around, but she thinks she's great. Now, you got the other end of the spectrum where you got a woman who's a basic bum, but she thinks she's great too. So it's not about where the woman happens to be. They could be in different places in life. You could, quote unquote, see them as successful if you want to. Now my thing is there's no such thing as a successful woman who isn't married. I don't even believe in that. You're not successful until you get a husband because you're a woman. Men and women do different things. And if a woman just tries to emulate being a man, that don't make her a good woman. That just makes her dysfunctional. That's all it does. Okay? It's basically like trying to take a car out on the river. Okay? The average car is not made to drive on water. So you can have the nicest car in the world. Let's say you got a Bentley. Okay? You have been blessed enough that you got yourself a Bentley. All right? You feel like cruising a bit. You go to the nearest large body of water to you. Now, for me, it would be Lake Michigan, right? I could have a Bentley and everybody could talk about how great my Bentley is. But if I take my Bentley out to Lake Michigan and try to drive across the lake, you gonna say I'm crazy. Why? Because the Bentley ain't designed to drive across the lake. It's a Bentley, though. You can't say it ain't a nice car. Okay? You gonna say my car not nice and it's a Bentley? Okay? My car is nice. It's a Bentley. So I should drive it across the lake. Bro, it ain't made to drive across no lake. Bro, it's a Bentley. This is one of the top cars in the world, man. This car costs bank, man. What you talking about? This car is good in all types of conditions. Bro, it's Lake Michigan. You can't drive the car across Lake Michigan. It just ain't designed to do that. Now, I can argue all day about how my car can drive clear across Lake Michigan. Okay, I can do that. But if I take a car, even if it's a Bentley, to drive across Lake Michigan, that just ain't the function it was made for. Okay? So guess what? There's a lot of women who gonna say, well, I'm this, or I'm rich, or I got this done, or I'm famous like this. You're still not a man. I don't mind that you're any of those things, but that ain't what your design is. Okay? You weren't designed to be a man. And that's okay. Just like this Bentley wasn't designed to go across Lake Michigan. Okay? Just is what it is. But the thing is, as men, we got to start making women deal with these things, y'all. I don't care what she thinks about herself. She could think she's a Bentley, but you just ain't designed to go across this lake. It is what it is, man. It is what it is. Okay? You just ain't designed to go across this lake. Now, this is a major issue for Black women because a lot of them refuse to believe that there's a problem with them. They don't even see themselves as being dysfunctional. But it's just like them trying to drive a Bentley across the lake. And they want to argue about how good the machinery is. This is a fine piece of machinery right here. This is top of the line equipment here. Shorty, it's a Bentley, man. See, if a man tried to drive across the lake with a Bentley, you just telling me crazy. But what do we do as men when it comes to women? We basically see them trying to drive across lakes, and we act like it's okay. We tell them it's gonna be all right. You know good and well that thing finna go to the bottom of the lake. You know good and well. Let's say she drive off the pier. As soon as it come off that pier, it's headed straight to the bottom. Ain't gonna be nothing she can do. But you'll sit there telling her it's all right. We got to stop that, y'all. We got to stop that. Real talk. It's not like there ain't other choices to get across that lake. Okay? It ain't like it ain't other choice. You can get across that lake. Now, I don't know what body of water you close to. Like I said, for me, it's Lake Michigan. I'm just going to tell the young lady, and I get it, y'all. Sometimes they just cute. Okay, sometimes they just look real good. Sometimes they super fine teeth. Sometimes they thick in all the right places. Sometimes, they're a little petite, but they just so pretty. I get it. I get it. But I'm gonna tell that woman, Shawty, you cute now, but this car ain't finna go across that lake. Okay? I'm just keeping it real. This car ain't finna go across that lake. I get it. You know what I'm saying? It's a nice car. I ain't saying it ain't a nice car, but it ain't gonna make it across that lake. It is what it is. But see, we don't want to do that because we too worried about, well, if I tell her this, she might be upset. I'll never have a chance to quote unquote drive her car if I tell her this or tell her that. No, I'm gonna tell you this because it is what it is. I don't really care how you feel about it. That's me. I don't really care how you feel about it. It is what it is, baby. That Bentley ain't making cross no lake. Go get you a boat. Okay, go get you a boat. Well, I don't want no boat. Okay, all right, fine. Don't go across the lake then. That's my thing. Don't go across the lake then. Okay. Well, if you're gonna argue with me, I'm gonna tell you to get yourself a boat of some kind, get a jet ski, get something. But this ain't designed to go across this lake. You gonna argue with me about? Okay, fine then. Go on, drive that Bentley across the lake then. Because you stupid. It ain't gonna be nothing pleasurable. No, go on, drive that Bentley across the lake because you stupid. I already told you what it was. And you know what? When she take that Bentley and she hit 100 miles an hour, drive up off that dock and go straight to the bottom, I ain't jumping in. I might see if she make it out, but I ain't jumping in. I told your dumb behind to go get you a boat. Okay, but no, you want to prove me wrong and drive that Bentley across the lake. Knock yourself out. That's what you got to do with some of them, y'all. You got to just let them go. All right, they ain't gonna listen. You got to just let them go. The Lake Michigan can tell her better than I can, obviously. So let me Lake Michigan tell her. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna let Lake Michigan tell her. Okay, it is what it is. All right. Now, I have said, y'all, again, 18 years old, you're supposed to be a basic wife at that point. What do you have a lot of old hoes telling 18-year-olds? You need to go out and live your life and find out who you are and do all kinds of hoe stuff. That's what you need to do. You need to be a hoe. They don't like to use the term go be a hoe, but that's what they be telling them to do. You need to find yourself. You need to understand who you is. You need to understand what kind of man you like. You know what I'm saying? How you know what kind of man you like? How you even know what kind of sex you like if you ain't had enough men? Women have actually said this to young ladies. These old hoes have told young ladies, how you even know what type of sex you like until you've been out there exploring? This is literally the type of stuff that old hoes will tell young ladies. So as men, we gonna have to tell them something different, y'all. Now I get it. You may not want to talk to a woman, but you better tell them something different, or it's just gonna be your niece. It's just gonna be your daughter. It's just gonna be your granddaughter. You're gonna have to tell them something different. Because these hoes out there telling them all kinds of stupid stuff. All right. And we hearing it, you know what I'm saying? We proverbially hearing women tell women to go drive cars across the lake. We hearing it. Now, if we don't say nothing, you can't trip that every chick is out there trying to drive a car across the lake. You ain't said nothing. You got to tell them something. It is what it is. Shout out to J Dub. I guess how you pronounce it? Schuylkill River here in Philly. Is that what we doing? Schuylkill River. That's a heck of a name. All I know is they try to drive some cars across that lake. A lot of them gonna end up getting killed. I do know that. A lot of them gonna end up getting killed trying to drive across the lake. It's called Schuylkill. I guess it's trying to warn you. I don't know nothing about Schuylkill River, but I guess it's trying to warn you. Drive across that river if you want to. Sound like you're gonna end up upside down, going down. That's what it sounds like. Shout out to Mr. Sugar to you. He said, shout out to Mr. Sugar to you, y'all. He said cars can drive across the lake. You just ain't magical enough. If this ain't the black woman response, y'all, cars can drive across lakes. You just ain't magical enough. Hey man, well, hey, once they get like that, man, hey, all you can tell them is go ahead, just go ahead. You got it. You got it. Now me, I'm just gonna tell them, look, go ahead, but once you get on that lake, don't call me. I ain't coming, okay? Cause you can't argue with somebody like that, y'all, and it help. You ain't finna help nobody. Because in some kind of way, a lot of women are going to say exactly that. It's just going to be in different words. You know, you can drive across lakes. You just ain't magical enough. Cool, you got it. Okay, I can't do nothing with you once you hit that point. You got it. You know, now y'all, I did make a reality scale that some of y'all may remember. Okay. Now, I think this is a tool that we really need to start giving our daughters and making them understand. I was explaining this to somebody else not too long ago. You know, this person that they were talking about was 33 years old. She had 3 kids, 3 different baby daddies, y'all. Okay. Now, if you look at this reality scale, y'all, it tell you, you know, because a lot of women like to think they're 10s. And my thing is, if you're a 10, I'm not going to take that from you, but that means somebody's paying you to be beautiful. Maybe you are an actress and you take on the roles where you the beautiful woman of the plot. Okay. You know, because every woman in acting, you know, you could be a movie star, television star. Every woman ain't paid to be the beautiful woman. Okay. That just ain't how it go. Every woman ain't paid to be the beautiful woman. Sometimes you paid to be the old mama. Sometimes you paid to be the ugly woman. You know, sometimes you pay to be the woman that's been suffering something for a long period of time. Just because you're a female and you act, don't mean you paid to be the beautiful woman. Okay. All right. Now, if you're paid to be the beautiful woman and you're an actor or even a model, I'm gonna let you have your 10. I'm not gonna argue about your 10. The marketplace says that you are a 10. Okay, but I'm not just talking a beauty scale, y'all. I'm talking about a reality scale. When somebody's paying you to be beautiful, cool, you a 10. I ain't got no issue with that. Okay, I ain't got no issue. But see, that's just where you can start. Now, the average person who's 18 to 21, the best they can start is a 9, because there's the points that get removed based on what she does. Okay. Now, if you 18 to 21, yeah, you can say you a 9. You can at least claim it in your mind. It ain't gonna make you no 9, because there's other things that can take a point away. You know, you get to 22 to 25, yeah, you can go with an 8. Okay. And as you see, y'all, as the age goes up, the numbers come down, because that's reality at the end of the day. Now, like I said, I just mentioned a woman who was 33 years old that I was told about. She's 33 years old, y'all. Okay. Now, if you look at the chart, 6s are 30 to 35. Okay. She's 33. So she falls for the 6. Now, she has 3 children. Okay. She has 3 children. Now, this is the thing. So you may be a 6, but you got kids. So I'm going to take a point away because you got kids. So now that already puts you down to a 5. Now she has 3 baby daddies. So those are 3 men I may have to deal with. So now I'm going to take a point away for each man I possibly got to deal with, because they're baby daddies at the end of the day. Now, if you just got reduced to a 5, and now I got to take 3 points off because this guy, and this guy, you a 2 at that point. And believe it or not, y'all, believe it or not, okay, and I ain't gonna say no names, anything like that. The young lady that I was told about, and I seen pictures of, sad thing, she's a halfway decent looking chick. You know, no, I ain't gonna say halfway. She definitely was a decent looking woman. You know, she was definitely thick, you know, everything in all the right places. But you know what else she had? And this is not a joke. She had an STD, but the kind that you cannot get rid of. Once you get it, you got it for life. So if I take you down, I mean, you're already 33. In reality, I'm looking at you like you are 6. But then you got kids. So I'm going to take a point away for having kids. So now you're down to a 5. But then you have 3 baby daddies. So now these are all maybe potential men I may have to deal with if I deal with you. So now I got to take those away. So you down to it too. Now you got an STD that you can't get rid of. I got to take a point for that. You down to a 1. I'm not interested at that point. It just is what it is. But see, these are ways that if we gave this information to young women, this could help them figure out where they happen to be and how to avoid getting in bad situations. Because think about it. If 18-year-olds had this can help them make some good decisions. And if you explain to them, people are going to take points away for messed up things going on with you, such as having an STD, I got to take a point away. I got to take a point away for having kids. And I got to take a point away for having baby daddies, which means what? If you have a kid out of wedlock, you just got 2 points taken off you because you have children, but now you have a baby daddy. Now, if you got more than one baby daddy, I got to take a point for each of those, because any dude could be the crazy dude that creates extra problems for me to deal with if I would even talk to you. Again, y'all, this is a reality scale, not a beauty scale, a reality scale. Because every woman likes to believe she's beautiful. That don't mean she is, but she want to believe that. Okay? She does want to believe that, though. Okay? Now, shout out to Lady D. Okay, we got a Lady D in the audience. Shout out to you, Lady D. She says, I'd rather have kids than you. And you know what, Lady D? I believe you. Okay? I believe you. Why do I believe you? Because the average black woman ain't smart enough to have a husband. That's why I believe you. Now, I know you think that's an insult to me. I know you think that's an insult to me. But all you did was insult yourself. You know, the average black woman, which you just wanted to come prove, for, you know, you was unprovoked, but you wanted to come prove it. You say you rather have kids than me. I definitely believe that, because a lot of black women choose to be stupid. Okay? And I get that you possibly could be mad because you put up the peace sign. You possibly could be mad. Now, why are you mad at me and I don't even know you? If this is hitting home for you in some type of bad way, understand, lady, I don't even know you. Okay? What you mad at me for about what's going on in your life that you don't like what you hearing? I didn't do any of it. I don't even know you. What you mad at me for? Okay? You know? But hey, y'all, see, that's the thing. When you start laying stuff out, some women gonna get upset about it. You know, this is why I'm saying, talk to the people you love. Now, I'm gonna say shout out to V. He said just 1 point for the STD. Bro, it's only 10 points. It's only 1 point for anything. There's only 10. Okay, you don't need to take away multiple points. And the thing is, you don't approach the scale in an immature way. That's the thing. I don't want, and I'm not saying you're being immature. What I'm saying is, you don't want, if you want to leave it as something valid, you can't make it invalid by having a bunch of immature thinking on the thing. Anything that is an actual problem ain't nothing but 1 point. You only started with 10 in the first place. And the only people who even can get to a 10 is somebody who's paid to be beautiful, which means hardly anybody. Let's keep it real. Hardly anybody gonna be a 10, because who getting paid to be beautiful? You talking about specific actresses, you talking about some models, and that's about it. Ain't too many people got a job where they're paid to be beautiful. So yes, an STD is just 1 point. Okay? And that's enough, y'all. Now, the thing is, I'm not giving y'all this information to butcher it or clown women with it. It is not to clown women. women. It's to actually teach women stuff. Okay, because if this become a standard thing that young ladies know about when they growing up, then you're gonna have much better women. You will butcher the entire process because you want to clown women. If y'all want to be taken seriously, you got to put something out that's serious. And I'm not getting on via any particular man. I'm just saying real talk. You can't play about everything and expect other people to take it seriously. Okay. Now, this is the thing, y'all. You see how effective that it was? Because Lady D, a person that I do not know, okay, never heard of, she got upset so fast just because it was presented. Think about that, y'all. And what did I tell you? A lot of sisters do. They try to compare you with this small group of white men. Now, I didn't plan this, y'all. She put this on. She put this down on her own. I didn't tell her to do this, but y'all know I done told y'all they try to compare with this very small group of white men. She say, "Are you niggas Elon Musk?" It's only one Elon Musk. You see what I'm saying? She don't want to compare you to just a white man. She want to compare you to one of the richest white men on the planet. Okay, it's only one Elon Musk at the end of the day. And guess what? Lady D can't have him. So why are you even bringing him up to me? She brought up Elon Musk as if she has a chance to be with Elon Musk. And see, y'all, this is the thing. It hurts enough. We don't need to try to make it worse. Okay, we don't need to try to make it worse. It hurts enough when you got to deal with your own reality. Okay. And shout out to Mr. Suge, to you. I saw what you did, brother, and I appreciate it. You know, he threw that link right after she put that stuff, y'all. He threw the link in right away. He said, "You think Roger's full of crap?" I like the way you did that. Join the panel to express your point of view here. Shout out to you, Mr. Suge, to you. I appreciate that, brother. I appreciate that. Okay. Now, and now J Dub said an STD that you can't get rid of, the negative rating. Hey, man, you only got to take away 1 point, because let's keep it real, y'all. Once you find out a woman has an STD that she cannot get rid of, I mean, who jumping in the sack with her anyway? I mean, let's be realistic, y'all. You don't have to try to go crazy or try to prove no point. Which one of y'all jumping in the sack with a woman who got an STD she can't get rid of? Which one of y'all doing that? Okay, you ain't got to make it no issue unless one of y'all is willing to jump in the sack. And she done told you she got an STD that she cannot get rid of. She done told you that already. Are you jumping in the sack with her? Okay, I mean, you got to be real. It's not about her and the STD. It's about the scale, so people will have an understanding of things. You know. Now, shout out to Gyogami. He says, "Respect to you, Roger, but only 1 point deduced was deducted for an uncurable, untreatable STD seems low. 2 would be at least reasonable. A no-fly zone for me, though. Health and medicine is too severe." Well, Gyogami, this is the point. It only needs to be 1 point, because once you find out she has an incurable STD, who jumping in bed with her? Yeah, I'm assuming I'm gonna assume that for most men, once you find out she has an incurable STD, it's already a wrap. You don't need to take away a bunch of points, because it ain't about her at the end of the day. This is about women in general. Now, if y'all gonna jump in the sack with her, hey, all I'm gonna say is y'all ain't the men I thought y'all was. That's all I'm just gonna say that. Y'all ain't the guys I thought y'all was, because I thought when a woman tell you she got an STD that she can't get rid of, to me, that's an automatic no-fly zone. So no, 1 point is enough. Okay? Because the thing is, you can't make it insulting to women because they have to accept the scale. And I understand this, and some people ain't really learned about certain things from a psychological standpoint. When you make things too impossible, people are just going to reject it. Okay, when you make things too impossible, people are just going to reject it. So you can't help them trying to make it too impossible. Okay, you can't help them that way. And the thing is, you got to think about, if this was your daughter, you want to make her understand this stuff before she gets an STD. That's the point. You want to make her understand this stuff before she gets an STD. You want to make her understand this stuff before she starts having sex. You want to make her understand this stuff before she's comfortable enough with some man to be doing all kinds of stuff. Because you can't control what she's gonna do once she's 18 and out the house. You got some control while she's living with you. But once she's 18 and out the house, she got to already be prepared. And the thing is, you don't want your own daughter to reject the scale because you're making something so ridiculous. You understand that, y'all? You don't want your own daughter to reject the scale because you harping on something that don't need to be harped on. The scale hard enough as it is. Okay? The scale is hard enough as it is. And again, which one of y'all finna hop in the bed with a chick with a STD that she can't get rid of? Which one of y'all doing that? Because if you tell me that, it's a wrap. You ain't got to tell me nothing else. You ain't got to tell me about your baby daddies. You ain't got to tell me about your kids. You ain't got to tell me about nothing else. Once you tell you got an STD you can't get rid of. Okay. It's cool. It was nice knowing you, baby. It's nice knowing you. Because that's all I really got for you at the end of the day at that point. It was nice knowing you. Because we clearly don't know each other that much. And I don't want to be out of pocket. If you have a certain STD that you cannot get rid of, people who have that same STD, I think that's who they should be looking for. The guy who was asking me about it, he was telling me the story about the woman with the STD. I said, I can understand why she would get on the internet and try to find somebody. And I think she should just put it in her profile. Look, I got this incurable STD. This who I am. If you got the same thing, holla at me. And maybe they work out. See, life ain't always just over, y'all. Sometimes you got to think outside the box, as they say. Life ain't always over just because you get into a struggle situation. Because that's going to be a struggle when you get an STD that you cannot get rid of. But you can just go out there and look for other men who got that same STD. And maybe y'all can work it out. Good luck. Good luck. I don't ever want to have to deal with that. But good luck to the people who do have to deal with it. But see, this is the thing, y'all. This stuff happens because women are out there in the field. And I'm talking about 18 to 30 years old. You're out there in the field, but you don't have a husband. Okay, why do women get STDs in the first place? Normally because they don't have a husband. Why do women have out of wedlock births? Because they don't have a husband. Okay. A lot of women will get into financial debt. And I'm not even talking about school. Leave school off the table for now. Why are women getting into such financial debts? Because they don't have a husband. Think about it. Okay. A lot of problems that women bring upon themselves is because they don't have a husband. So how long can a woman be single and good? Think about this, y'all. Don't get so caught up in the STD and all that other stuff, y'all. Let's not lose the point of the string. How long can a woman be single and good at the same time? This is something that young ladies need to hear. This is something that older women need to hear. We need to put this message out to the Black community as a whole. The problems women normally have are gained because they're single in the first place. You shouldn't be on the market between 18 and 30. I understand being on the market at 18. Okay, but you're supposed to meet a man. Pick a guy whose lead you're willing to follow as a young lady. Lock in, be committed, get married, call it a day. Now, a lot of us, we cool with this ideal of women trying to look for this quote unquote best option. I'm not saying you shouldn't look for a good option, but at the end of the day, you shouldn't look for quote unquote the best option. You should look for the best option around you. Because when you look for the best option, that's just somebody you ain't gonna get. Only one person can be the quote unquote best option just by default of the language. If you're gonna look for the best option, that's only one person. The chances that the best option will take you on is ridiculous. And y'all, let's think about it. As men, we don't look for the best option. We look for the best option around. That's what men normally do, which is why we usually have a better situation going on. Okay. We look for the best option around. You go to a party, you're not looking for the best option. You're looking for the best option at that party. All right. When we could, talk to the women on the job more, I wouldn't necessarily recommend you do it now. But when we could do that, you look for the best option at the job you worked at. You didn't look for the best option in general. Okay. Y'all, well, I see Lady D is back saying something. I'm gonna deal with that in a moment, y'all. Y'all don't leave her alone, y'all. Leave Lady D alone, y'all. I understand y'all don't get it. When a woman comes into a chat and you got a bunch of men making a bunch of comments to her, and I know y'all don't mean well because you like, well, I only said one thing to her. Well, if a bunch of men said one thing to her, that's still a bunch of comments being headed in her direction. So don't jump on the women when they come in, y'all. Leave them alone. Okay, leave them alone. Just let me address it. We don't have enough women over here, so it looks like in her mind she's getting jumped on. That's how it's happening in her mind. She getting jumped. Okay, y'all. So we don't want to have a climate where a woman feels like she's getting jumped. All right. So just let me handle it a little bit. Let me handle it a little bit. It's gonna be all right. Okay. But y'all, what I'm saying is you gotta learn, you gotta teach women to do stuff that works. The reason men have success the way they do, because we don't look for the best option. We look for the best option around. When we did talk to women on jobs, we talked to the best option at that job. Again, we went to a party. We look for the best option at that party. You may have went to an event with some friends. You look for the best option at that event. Women do look for the best option in general. Okay. That's huge among black women, which is why most black women ain't good enough to have a husband. It just is what it is. They looking for the best option in general. What's the chances of any random woman finding the best option? He's going to take them. It's basically is almost zero. Because at the end of the day, the best option don't want them. Just is what it is. See, we as men, we understand the best option ain't going to necessarily want us. I'm going to use Beyonce for an example, and a lot of people understand, you even women talk about it. How did Jay-Z get Beyonce? Okay. In certain ways, Beyonce, and I'm just saying from a marketing standpoint, Beyonce was presented as a best option. Okay. Beyonce was presented as the best option, which I ain't mad at. Okay. She wasn't never really the best option because Kelly has always been way finer than Beyonce, but Beyonce was presented as the best option. How many men really say, hey, well, I'm going to go after Beyonce because she's the best option? Men didn't do that. For the most part, men said, okay, she's a good option, but I probably ain't going to be able to get her. Let me holler at the ones around me. Now, if you think about Jay-Z's case, Jay-Z's, women don't say he the most handsome guy. I done heard Jay-Z been called ugly many a time. Okay. I don't think it matters that much, but Jay-Z was a rich man in that circle of people that could get access to Beyonce. So I can understand why Jay-Z said, well, let me lock on and see if I can get it. Because he in that circle. Okay, it made sense for Jay-Z to go for it at the end of the day. But most men didn't look at Beyonce and say, well, I'm going to go for it. Yeah, I take it if it comes. But we wasn't sitting around waiting on Beyonce to meet us. And so we could shoot our shot and everything work out. Ladies don't choose to be intelligent like that. They choose to be dumb. They choose to say, well, let's say Michael B. Jordan for now. Well, Michael B. Jordan is the best option. I'm finna go for him. And then they'll bypass on all the other good options they had because they trying to get to Michael B. Jordan, which don't want nothing to do with them at the end of the day. Now, Michael B. Jordan is a real nice and classy guy, and he don't just come out and say that he don't want nothing to do with them. He keep that on the low that he don't want nothing to do with them. But you know what? Tunnel Runner is coming up. I'm going to take a phone call real quick. So, Tunnel Runner, I'm finna give you the flow. And then I'll come back and do my thing.
Okay. Hopefully I'm coming in clear. I got a lot of noise around me, but
You good.
yeah, but the thing is, there's been plenty of studies. The women who get married the youngest and get married with the less bodies, their marriages stay together for the longest period of time. So that's just those are plenty of studies. Anybody can do the research and find out that the less bodies a woman has, if she's a virgin and she gets married young, is more likely for her to stay married to that husband. So that's just what it's supposed to be. The more she goes out there, the more people she gets involved with, the more confused, and things get more difficult for her to handle or get with. So you want to try to find a woman who's trying to be successful and that wants to be young. And like I say, less bodies is going to be more able for her to bond to the man that she is looking to have a future with. So the facts are the facts, and you can't really fight against it because I mean, those are just the numbers. That's just doing their math that women and men need to do. They need to go out there and research and see what works, and it has been working for years and years. And if you want to have a bunch of children, you need to have a wife that's young enough to have them. If you're getting with a wife or with a woman who's older, it's going to be difficult. So people need to really try to understand that you can't beat the math. You cannot beat the math. And
Okay. Oh, I ain't trying to cut you off. Were you done?
yeah, that's pretty much, yeah. Just saying the math is the math, and the people have to really understand that what works is what works. And the earlier you can marry a woman who has less bodies on it is going to be more positive for a long term marriage.
Absolutely.
And
Because what I heard you say, I definitely agree with you. And I'm gonna address Lady D now. Now, Lady D, I'm gonna invite you to the panel because I'm not gonna keep talking to you from the show. And I'm just giving you a little attention because you're a female, and that's all it is at the end of the day. But I ain't gonna keep talking to you like that. So if you really want to say something, you can hit the link and join the panel. Because we will talk to a woman here at the end of the day. And you can give your perspective. We'll hear what you got to say. But you said there's 30 women to every one man. Why would a man be single? Lady D, the reason that men would be single is because you're trash. Just because it's 30 of y'all to one of us don't mean we want to be with y'all. You said that like that means any of y'all are good enough. If you got 30 women to one man, and the man don't pick any of the 30, that means you got 30 trash women. We don't owe y'all to be with y'all. We're gonna be with the women we like being with. So just saying numbers like that don't make no difference. If you ain't good enough to be married, and this is the deal, and I'm not saying this to about just you in general. Realistically, most black women just ain't worthy to be with, which is why most of them ain't married. It's not like me saying something to insult black women. I'm saying they have proven that they're not worthy of a marriage because men have not married them. It just is what it is. Okay. And that's just what it comes down to at the end of the day. Now, I'll address this one last one because I see something in it. It looks like it's hilarious to me. Let me see what I'm seeing here, but it looks funny. Lady D said, "Sir, I have an Iranian sheik and and an Iraq prince in my Facebook friend zone. Welcome to the World Wide Web." Okay, that is funny to me. I'm not gonna crack the jokes I was just about to crack, but I am gonna say this: they're in your friend zone. Okay, Only thing you're telling me is they don't want you. That's what you're telling me. One is a sheik, the other one's a prince. What you're saying to me is you, because of the World Wide Web, you've been able to somehow meet a sheik that doesn't want you, and you've been somehow able to meet a prince that doesn't want you. I don't understand what you're trying to prove at this point. I thought you were going to say something like, I got a boyfriend that's a sheik, or I got a husband that's a prince. You just telling me that you know somebody who has a profile that claims that they're sheik. You know somebody else with a profile who claims that they're a prince, but you're not with either one of them. The chances of them being a real sheik and a real prince is next to none. That's number one. But even if they was fake, they not with you. If they were real, they're not with you. What is your point? Now, y'all see, I'm gonna read this just for my own personal laugh. Let me read this for my own personal laugh. She says, true story, because them in my friend zone sitting on their throne. Shorty, nobody cares about your claim of men that's in your friend zone. They're not with you. You don't have no claim to these men. You can try to tell us anything about they and your friend. All I know is there are two other men that didn't want to marry you. That's all I know, because that's what the proof tell me. You can say whatever you want, but the proof tells me is neither one of them married you. It is a woman's job to be good enough for a man to marry. So you can save all that friend zone talk. All I know is they rather be friends than marry you. Go ahead.
Roger, we just had a woman from New York that went to Pakistan trying to strong arm a little Pakistani boy into marriage, and the parents took the boy and ran away and left her there, and she was out there acting a fool. They had to ship her back here. She went out there acting a fool. She tried to strong arm some little boy. She put a face screen on him in Pakistan and tried to get him to marry her. What these women crazy? He looked like a nut. I ain't saying she a nut, but she looked like a nut.
Yeah, I mean, some stuff. Look, I don't want to be seen as a channel that we gonna make fun of women, because I be trying to help them too. My thing is, if you help the men, but you can help the women too. Now, Roastmaster One said, yes, that lie is hilarious, Raj. Look, y'all. Hey, look, I'm not even. I mean, y'all, come on. Sometimes I don't even want to call her a liar, because y'all know how it is with women. I tell you all the time, women are always lying. You know, it's like this constant thing they doing. Lady D, I'm not even trying to call you a liar right now. But come on, man. You're talking about a sheik and a prince. Somehow you, out of all people, was able to meet a sheik and a prince on Facebook. You want us to believe that they real profiles, but both of them talk to you, and you think you saying I friend zone them means something. Look, Lady D, a woman has to convince a man to marry her. So anybody you can claim is in your friend zone is just another dude who would marry you. That's all it is at the end of the day. That's the only thing you're telling me. If you can't tell me about your husband, you ain't got nothing to say. Now, I don't even want to crack jokes on you like this, and I don't even really want the chat to get on you, but you coming up with what? I mean, come on now. You got to be... You making this hard for me to say don't say nothing to him when you got these cockamamie stories out that still end up with you ain't got no husband. Okay, let's say you put the sheik and the prince in the friend zone. Where your husband at? Where that guy? Where the guy who's so good that you didn't put him in the friend zone that wanted to marry you? Where is that guy? Why are you telling me about two guys who didn't marry you? You think that's a brag? No, if anything can say you slow. That's the only thing you telling me. It's a prince that wants to marry you, but you so stupid you ain't gonna marry the prince. There's a sheik that wants to marry you, but you so slow you think that's a bad idea. You're not bragging. You are literally publicly promoting how stupid black women can be. It's not a good look. Okay, it's not a good look. You want me to believe that's real. And if I just flat out accept that only for purposes of the show, you're basically just telling us how dumb black women are, that even when a sheik wants to marry them, or a prince wants to marry them, or you ain't even say marry, but you say they in your friend zone. So a sheik wants to be with you, and a prince wants to be with you, and you were so dumb that you not only told one of them no, you told two of them no. How dumb can you be? And you think you bragging by saying it. That's y'all. This is how slow some black women can be. Now, I hate the fact that she said this publicly. I actually don't even like the fact that she said this publicly, because you got to really think about how slow a woman has to be to get one opportunity to be with a man in that position. And she's so slow, she turned the opportunity down twice.
Roger,
And
she didn't
she
even take
thinks
the
she's
trip
saying
over
something.
there. She didn't even take the trip over there to see if what. I'm sure if he's a prince, or he has some tickets for her to come down to the country.
Man, I'm pretty sure it's just somebody with the name Sheik Tyrone or somebody with the name
He
Prince
probably worked at the
Jay-Z.
7-Eleven around the corner.
Nah, I'm not gonna say they ain't nothing. I'm just saying, y'all, what is the chance? Realistically, what is the chances that anyone who's not in those positions are going to know a sheik or a prince? I understand if you royalty yourself, I understand why you might know the sheik and you might know the prince. I totally get that. If you're a servant of a sheik or a prince, I understand why you might be a Facebook friend with another sheik or another prince. I could understand all kinds of stuff. But y'all, this random woman wants me to believe. A random woman wants me to believe that she knows a prince and a sheik. It wasn't, she couldn't even just go with one. Now I know two people, you know what I'm saying? It's two of them like that, y'all. It ain't just one. And you know what? I'm so stupid, they in my friend zone. Shorty, don't nobody care about you like that. You know what I'm saying? Now you say you don't have to lie, which I'm gonna say that's a true statement. You don't have to lie, yet you're doing it anyway. Yeah, nobody has to lie, but you're still doing it, okay? And guess what? If it's the truth, it's worse, because it's you really stupid if it's the truth. You know, it's already bad if it's a lie. If it's the truth, it's worse. And this is why most black women ain't married. They can't even tell that the truth would be worse than a lie based on what she's saying. The truth would literally be worse than a lie. Okay? To know a prince and a sheik that won't take you is a much better thing to say than I know a prince and a sheik who want me, but I won't take them. Show that I don't even know who you is. Now, if you was sitting over here and you was rich as I don't know what and famous as I don't know what, and we instantly knew who you were, I could maybe have some understanding. But you are nobody saying I'm turning down sheiks and prince. If it's the truth, it's worse. Do you not get that? But y'all, this is why I tell y'all, women being single for long periods of time is not good. How long can a person be single and you're a woman and still be a good person? Because think about it, y'all. This lady D, now, unless this is just a dude with a female profile, this lady D is a single woman who's making up cockamamie stories, whether they true or not. She's making up cockamamie stories, don't have a husband, and she's bragging, thinking she's saying something positive about herself. That's crazy in itself, y'all. She thinks she's saying something positive about herself. So this is why women don't need to be single too long. They start getting all these stupid ideas. You know, I understand they want to look like they somebody on the internet. I do understand the way people think, where they want to be significant. So their ideal is, if I can be significant on the internet, then I'll be a somebody. You know, at the end of the day, y'all, see, I don't even want to make fun of Lady D. She's suffering, y'all. At the end of the day, y'all gotta understand, this is a woman who's suffering. Now, this is either a guy who's playing, which I pray that it's just a guy playing, y'all. I pray it's just a guy playing. Because if it was a guy playing, then okay, it's just a funny thing, okay? But if this is an actual woman, all you can do for a woman like that is pray for her, because she gone. She gone. She's probably past 30. She's probably an official loser. And you know what? It's just a sad situation at the end of the day. It's just a sad situation, okay? And y'all, look, I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna try not to make fun of this chick, y'all. She say, "Oh, it's very true. Sitting on that throne alone, and I saw my seat empty next to them, waiting on me." And she got laughing emojis with that. You got to be the dumbest woman I've came across this year. That's all I can tell you, Lady D. You the dumbest woman I've come across this year. Okay, and I'm saying that out of love. I'm not even saying that out of disrespect. You the dumbest woman that I have come across this year. Real talk. Okay. And I know you probably don't know it, but I done had multiple channels. Okay. So this is a channel I just started, you know, about a month ago. And I didn't talk to I didn't seen a whole lot of people before I didn't seen you today. You about the dumbest woman I've come across this year. And I say that out of respect. Okay. Out of respect. Okay. Okay. It is what it is. All right. But y'all, this is a woman showing you why women don't need to be single. And this is the thing, because I don't want to get too distracted by this stupidity. But this is the thing, y'all. You get a woman she on the marketplace. That means she's 18 to 30, y'all. She on the marketplace. How good of a person can she be if no guy marries her? Think about that, y'all. Now, there'll be women who will say, well, I'm playing these games with men. Okay. You know, some women will say, hey, I got men in the friend zone, because they're trying to make excuses of why nobody actually married them. But think about what this is about their character. Well, yeah, I got a bunch of men in my friend zone, which means what? I'm trying to get as much as I can out of these men while not doing anything for them or doing as little as possible as I can for them. Does this sound like a good woman? Does this sound like a good person? Think about that, y'all. Yeah, I got some men in my friend zone. Oh, so now, y'all, we men, we understand it. Why would you have any man in your friend zone? Because I want to extract things from him. I want to extract money from him, or I want to extract favors from him. Okay, so who wants to extract things from men that they're not trying to be with? Does that sound like a good person? Does that sound like somebody who you would want to marry? She wants to extract a bunch of stuff from men that she don't want to be around. Because I keep men in the friend zone. Okay, cool. So you're not a good person at the end of the day. So nobody will want to marry you. It is what it is. It's really not that hard to figure out. It's really not that hard to figure out, you know. So, now keep in mind, y'all, there are actual hoes who are trying to do this stuff. Now, they not dumb enough to claim they're doing it with a prince or a sheik, but there's hoes out here who are trying to do this stuff. They're trying to get a lot of free stuff out of men. Now, and this is the other thing that men got to come to terms with. There's hoes who claiming they get free stuff out of men, but dudes are riding them out. They're not going to tell you that because they want to seem like they're doing it. And, y'all know women will compete with each other. So they'll tell other women what they could get a dude to do for free. And the truth is the guy riding them out at the end of the day. They just don't want to tell nobody that they get rotted out because they want to seem like they can get stuff out of a guy for nothing. It is what it is. Shout out to V. Yeah, I'm gonna read what V said. Roger says, I respect your stupidness, man. Hey, man, look, y'all. Look, there are dumb people out there. I'm just gonna say it. There are dumb people out there. And sometimes you're gonna come across dumb people. And you got to respect the fact that they do have a right to be dumb. Okay, stupidity is a choice. I keep telling y'all that. When you see people saying extremely stupid stuff, now they may consider themselves trolling. That people can say, "Oh, I'm trolling because they're dumb." I told y'all, there's no such thing as trolling for real. It's just people say dumb stuff because they're dumb. That's all they can add to a conversation. They can't add anything intelligent. They just say dumb stuff because they are dumb. It just is what it is at the end of the day. But it's much easier to believe that a woman who thinks she's smart would say something about having a prince and a sheik in her friend zone and thinks she's complimenting herself. That's far easier for me to believe when it comes to the average black woman, because most of them, let's keep it real, are not worthy of a marriage. It just is what it is. So if for a black woman to say something like that, it's not even shocking to me. They choose to be stupid. They really do. And they choose it on a regular basis, which is why the vast majority of them don't have a husband. So this ain't Roger saying something bad about black women. I know somebody may want to interpret it that way. I'm just looking at what the stats say. The stats say the average black woman isn't worth marrying. And then you have a woman say, I got a sheik and a prince in my friend zone. Now, I don't believe she has a sheik and a prince in her friend zone, but what I do believe, she is dumb enough to believe that two random guys claim to be a sheik and a prince, and she believed them. I do believe that. I know some of y'all may say she trolling. No, I believe they said they sheiks and princes, and she believed them. Go ahead, Tanarana.
Yeah, any girl out here that gets on the internet, if she's a little bit above average, she's gonna have thousands of guys trying to hit up on her, saying anything, everything. Even if she's average, there's guys desperate all over the world that will, put anything in there on these women. So yeah, these women have to have some kind of common sense.
I mean, they should, but I have to realistically, I gotta accept black women for who they are. Is she dumb enough to believe that a prince hollered at her and a sheik hollered at her? Is she dumb enough to believe that? See, black women do so much dumb stuff. It's hard for me to argue that a random black woman wouldn't believe a dude getting on the internet saying that he a prince or saying that he's a sheik. I think she would believe something like that. Just real talk. You know what I'm saying? You got to look at what black women do on a regular basis, which again is why they don't really need to be single. And that's why we got to really ask the question, how good can she be if she's still single? Because think about it, y'all. Do black men leave good women on the market? When the last time you met a 24-year-old who was pleasant, okay, just fills the room with sunshine when she walks in? Nice to everybody in general. Well kept. Okay, speaks well. Intelligent young lady. And she was single. When last time any of us saw that? We don't see this type of stuff. We don't even see good women who are single. We don't find that. What do you find? You may find
Because
a 24-year-old
doing too much. They're out here doing too much, having too much experiences, and getting themselves messed up because they will not submit to a man who wants to do them right. They want to be out there and do their thing, and they messing their minds up. And
but you see bad women out there like that. Because I want to make sure that distinction is made. You see bad women out there like that. They out there kicking it, taking shots, having sex with random dudes, don't even know their real names. She only know him by snake. You know what I'm saying? She has no idea what his real name is.
The
You
one
know?
with the dreads.
Yeah, shawty, my name's Snake. You know what I'm saying? She done did a threesome with him, still don't know what his real name is. You know? So yeah, we see 24-year-olds doing stuff like that out here. But I'm just saying, being realistic, y'all, when the last time y'all saw a nice 24-year-old out? I'm not saying you tried to hit on a 24-year-old. Even older guys, if you are older and you even got grandkids, when the last time you saw a nice young lady out on her own? She's like 24 years old, but she's pleasant enough that you can easily see her as a wife. You know, for somebody. I ain't saying your wife. I'm just saying for somebody. When the last time you saw a 24-year-old who looked like she marriage material that was actually single? Think about that, y'all. You ain't seen them. You ain't seen them. Let's keep it real. You know? Now, I'm not saying you ain't met a 24-year-old who's a very pleasurable person, but let's keep it real. She was married already. You ain't meeting no single 24-year-olds who are good people. And she just out here unmarried. You're not doing it. So why do we believe that an older black woman is gonna be a good person? There's no reason to believe it. So like even when that woman in that link said she was 28 years old, when the guy asked her was she crazy, why is she gonna lean into that? Because yeah, of course she crazy. She 28 and ain't got no husband. Now she can't say she got a bunch of kids, and that's what warded me off. And just looking at her, you can't say she fat. Now I understand a fat woman who can't get married. I totally get that. Okay, she she wasn't the cutest person, but you can't say she ugly either. You know, she wasn't ugly. You know, so I do understand any ugly woman who claims that nobody's going to marry her. I do. I understand that's a tough situation for a woman, but I can respect it. She's obviously ugly, so I get it. Nobody wanted to be with her. I get that. You know what I'm saying? But truth be told, there are some guys who still take on an ugly woman. Now, you know, they may be a little off themselves, but there are guys who will take an ugly woman on. But I will accept a woman saying, I'm so ugly, nobody would marry me. I do accept that. Okay. I also accept a woman who's saying, I'm so fat, nobody would marry me, because being a fat woman can be a hard place. I do get that. Okay. But I mean, we got somebody in the comment section right now. Lady D. You know, now based on the picture, I can't necessarily tell if she's a fat woman or not. Okay. She may not be fat. Okay. She may not be ugly. So why ain't she married? Okay. Think about it, y'all. Why ain't she married? See, now you got to go into, she's a very problematic woman at the end of the day. Now we may not know what her problem is per se. Now I'm going to say something that's kind of obvious is that, you know, she probably lied a little too much, or she's probably kind of slow. Okay, now it could be either one of those two. I'm gonna lean toward she lied too much, because I would hate to really believe that she believes some random she actually wants to talk to her, and some random prince actually wants to talk to her. So I'm just gonna go with she probably a little slow. Well, no, I'm sorry. I'm gonna go with she a liar, because it's just easier to believe that she's a liar than to believe she's actually that slow, where she believes these quote unquote profiles on Facebook are actual princes and sheiks that want something to do with her. So I'm just gonna go with it's probably that she a liar. And I can understand why a liar ain't married, because she may lie so much that guys don't trust her. I mean, she did come in here lying immediately. So what do I expect her to do to some random man that tried to talk to her? She probably started lying immediately. And it's not telling small lies. She make the lie so big, you can't bypass the lie. Okay, you can't just bypass the lie because the lie too big.
And Roger, when a woman gets married young, she can have experiences with her husband that she will never forget and that she can enjoy forever. And so by her going out here and having these experiences solo, and it doesn't leave anything for the next man to appreciate. She should get women getting married young and having these so-called experiences with a person is a better thing for them in the long run.
Well, and this is the thing to piggyback off that. Let's say you go out into the streets, you start having sex with a man, but let's say you meet a guy who actually wants to marry you one day, but now you're turned off sexually because he's not doing what the old guy was doing. Who got messed up in that situation? You had a guy who was willing to marry you, who won't marry you because you got an issue with sexual issues going on because he either ain't as big as the last guy or he wasn't doing something the last guy was doing. Maybe the other guy was wilder than him in bed. But see, you're not a virgin, so now it makes a difference to you. So now you done lost out on having a great husband because you've been a hoe. You know? And women, and y'all really need to start telling women this, because women will say something about, well, the guy wasn't sexually satisfying me. Y'all need to start telling women to their face that's only because you've been a hoe too long. See, if you wasn't such a hoe, that wouldn't be a problem. If you would have just held on to virginity, or at least slowed it down and not gave everybody some, you wouldn't have a sexual issue going on where you done been with so many men that you can't match with the guy who actually wanted to be in a real relationship with you and marry you one day. But see, a lot of us as men, we haven't been trained to just tell women the straight up truth. You just been a hoe too long. That's your problem. Every woman that I've talked to who says she had a sexual problem, I make her deal with the fact that she's been such a hoe that now that this is a problem.
That's real facts. That's real facts that you're spitting out there. The women who've been out there in the streets are just you can't make a housewife. It's as simple as that. Once she's been out there too much, it's hard to bring her. She can't. It's almost impossible for her to be a decent housewife, a decent woman. She just too much experience. It's best for her to be. If she don't have that much experience, if she only had one guy or no guys, then she's gonna think whatever her first man gets is going to be good.
Exactly. Now, my thing is, if you out there in the streets long enough, you know what I'm saying, you might meet a guy with a 12-inch rod. You might, if you out there long enough. If you enough of a hoe, that may come up. But the thing is, can you recover after you've been with the guy with the 12? He got a ruler out there, okay, and he out there doing his thing. But can you recover from that? Because you might meet a guy. He got 10, but you can't be satisfied with the 10 because you done had a 12. And women, and I've had women talk to me about all this stuff, but I tell every single one of them who has a bedroom issue, this is the problem that you caused yourself because you were too much of a hoe. It's not about the man. Because if you wasn't a hoe, your husband could have came in the room with 5 inches and you'd have been fine. But you was a hoe. So now you not fine because you done been with some dude who got 12 inches who probably went on to make pornos, and you want to blame him like it's his fault that he only got 5. No, it ain't his fault. The issue is the fact you've been a hoe. It got nothing to do with him. If you weren't a hoe, 5 inches would be fine. Because y'all, from a scientific standpoint, if my memory is correct, what you need to actually have is so low. I think you only need to actually have 3 inches to make a woman good from a scientific standpoint. So if you out there meeting guys with a ruler, it is what it is. That's your fault. You shouldn't have met that many guys. You shouldn't have slept with that many guys. You'd have never got to him if you wasn't such a hoe. But at some point in time, you got to deal with the fact you have been a hoe, and that's not your man's fault. Okay? Shout out to Patrick saying he said it's 4 inches. Which it may be 4 inches because I'm just trying to remember off the top of my head. But I do remember learning about that, and it's extremely small. You know what I'm saying? You don't need that much to satisfy no woman. The only issue is you got women out here, they just complete hoes at the end of the day, and now they mad at the man because they a hoe. And a lot of men need to stop. And this is what I mean about men not taking responsibility for stuff you ain't had nothing to do with. You know what I'm saying? And the average guy, I think they said it was 5 5 inches, 3/4. It was something like that. It wasn't that big at the end of the day. It wasn't that big. So my thing is, don't accept responsibility for stuff that ain't got nothing to do with you. You met a chick. She done been with a ruler, and she mad at you because she didn't make it work out with the guy who had the ruler. You should have made it work out with him then, so you didn't have to mess with nobody else. Since you know. But the thing is, don't blame me because you a hoe. I ain't got nothing to do with that. You a hoe. It is what it is. You know, it's not my fault. It ain't my responsibility that you a hoe. You was a hoe before I met you. You should be glad I'm talking to you at all. And I do think that is part of what's going to help straighten up a lot of black women. But y'all, these are things that women need to understand while they're young. If you a loser, now keep in mind, you're a loser officially at 30. That does not mean they ain't a loser before 30. It is what it is. You know, it doesn't mean they're not a loser before 30. Y'all, hold on one second. Well, hold on. I see Lady D in the chat telling somebody to F you. Lady D, you can't be doing that over here, man. You can't do that over here. I don't know what got said to you. I don't know what you mad about, but you can't tell nobody over here F you. You a guest over here. We don't know you like that. You can't be trying to check no dudes over here. That's not even your position as a woman. I don't even care what whoever said whatever they said that you got mad about. You do not speak like that over here. Present yourself as a lady, okay? You got lady in your name, and you still not even acting like one. No, act like a lady over here. Real talk. If you disagree with something, you respectfully disagree, but you're not gonna be over here talking crazy. I don't care what he said to you, because I know women want to say, "Well, you don't know what he said to me." I don't care what he said to you. Do not talk like this in my chat. Period. And this your only warning. Real talk. Okay. Act like a woman. For real. It's bad enough out here that you turn down princes and sheiks because you slow. That's bad enough. So don't be trying to tell nobody no F you over here. Okay. It is what it is. I don't care what he said. All right. Y'all pray for them. Pray for them because they convicted, y'all. They holding on to that lie. So y'all pray for that lady after the stream. Everybody pray for that lady after the stream because she convinced that she done met some sheik and she met a prince. She's convinced. But it's all good. But y'all, real talk. You gotta have real conversations with women and explain to them, look, shorty, you're not supposed to be out here bad like this. You can't fit the definition of being a good person and just stay single. It's not gonna happen. You know. Now, even if you let's say you're a virgin, y'all. Now, I had a guy who worked with the young lady. I never met the young lady, but the story she at least told was that she was 27 years old and she was a virgin. Now, y'all know I'm gonna give virgins much more respect than just the average woman. I'm always give virgins they props. Virgins can do stuff that other women can't do. It is what it is. But if you're 27 and a virgin, now there's questions to be asked. Why are you 27 and you still a virgin? Why don't you have a husband? Yo, you got to look at these things and start picking up on clues. There's something wrong with this young lady. Why would you be 27 and still a virgin? Okay. What guy ain't gonna give you props for being a virgin in the first place? Secondly, what kind of behavior are you displaying that men won't even marry a virgin? That's crazy when you think about it. What kind of behavior are you displaying that men won't marry a virgin? Because let's keep it real, that's hard enough to meet in the black community anyway. And I'm talking about the overall black community, the whole thing. It's hard enough to meet a virgin in the first place. A lot of these kids ain't making it out of high school with virginity. If we just want to keep it real. Okay, if we want to keep it real, that's not even happening. Okay, so how are you so messed up that men won't marry a virgin? But guys, we got to start making women understand. Just like I've been telling Lady D, it doesn't make a difference what story you tell. It is your job as a woman to be good enough for a man. See, a lot of them got stuff twisted because Lady D don't even understand how slow she was being in the chat, saying that she got a prince and a sheik in the friend zone. Like that's a brag. Okay, she don't even know how stupid she sounds. But if we don't tell them certain things, it's going to be harder for them to figure out how stupid they actually sound when they make public statements like this. You know, I feel bad that she felt comfortable enough to make a public statement like that. That's really some slow stuff at the end of the day. Okay, that's some real slow stuff at the end of the day. You know, and that's sad, y'all. And I get it. We can make fun of them. But it's better to actually pray for them. I'm just gonna say that it's better to pray for them at the end of the day, and start teaching young ladies. You know, I do say you should actually give them that reality skill so they can work with that. You know, try to avoid things that'll take points away from them, and you can make a list of things that'll take points away from them, such as having a baby daddy, okay, having kids, you know, without being married. You know, dressing like a hoe. Okay. Anything that we're really going to give them serious judgment on, they should understand a point is going to automatically be taken away from stuff like this. Yeah, you may be attractive. You may be young, but you might be dressed like a straight hoe at the end of the day. If I meet you and you dress like a hoe, what's my expectation for you to dress the next time I see you? Let's keep it real. What's my expectation? If I meet you and you already dressed like a hoe, even if I wanted to take you on a date, I assume you're going to dress like a hoe, which is why I'm not going to take you on no date. Now, I may tell you to come to my house, or realistically, I'm going to ask to come to your house because you dress like a hoe. I don't need hoes coming to my place because I don't know I don't know who you done mess with, and I don't know who I don't want seeing you walk into my crib. I don't know because hoes be out there. Okay. So if I meet you and you dress like a hoe, yeah, I'm gonna try to come to your place because I don't want you coming to mine because I don't know who you been with. I don't want no dude getting mad at me because I'm with his hoe. You know, it is what it is on that note. So I'm like, man, won't you let me come over there? I ain't gonna tell you come over here. I'm gonna say, won't you let me come over there? Okay. Or we can get a hotel, whatever, you know. But I ain't trying to be seen with a hoe like that. All right. That's just not my goal. All right. So we got to have real conversations with women, y'all, about why they're not supposed to be single. You know, and you should never make it to 30. Now, I understand the climate that we live in, and it's going to take a lot of work to change this climate, y'all, but we're going to have to start doing it. Okay, we're going to have to start doing it. Yo, in the next 10, 20 years, no woman of the Black community should ever get close to 30 and be unmarried. Unless it's just somebody who ain't gonna never get married. It shouldn't even happen. Real talk. It just should not happen. I'm gonna read this real quick and then I'm gonna give the mic to my guest. I don't know how you pronounce this. I guess Roy Chess. I don't know how you pronounce it. Maybe that's a fancy word that I don't know. I don't claim to know everything. He says, so it clearly depends on location. In some locations, there's like zero probability of being 27, a woman, and a virgin. Most men will not believe her off rip. Yeah, I am the Pope. Well, no, I don't think this is about location, bro. Yeah, at the end of the day, if you're 27 years old, why didn't nobody marry you if you're a virgin? So I don't think it's about location at all. Well, I'm talking about America. If you want to say a location, I'm talking about the whole America. Who the heck is gonna believe you're a virgin and you're a good person and ain't nobody married you? Because I can understand people not wanting to marry any woman. I do understand being a virgin is not enough. But if you're a good person and a virgin, who gonna leave you on the market? So no, that's not really about location. That ain't really about location, bro. Who is gonna leave a good person on the market and she a virgin? Ain't nobody doing that. If she was good and a virgin, she'd already be married. Because what's to hesitate about? Let's be for real. What is there to hesitate about? She's a good person and she is virgin. She gonna be married at the end of the day. She ain't gonna even make it to 27. But I'm gonna turn the mic over to Emperor Dessalines. You got it, my brother.
Salute, Roger.
Salute.
Salute to the chat. Well, you have what I would refer to as a good home management etiquette. Not letting a hoe go to your crib, that's golden rule. Congratulations.
Appreciate that, brother.
Although, push the rule a little further, I'm not going to her crib neither. Because I don't know who's paying for the crib. So I'm taking her to the hotel, or I'm going to use her as a backseat bandit. I got a nice backseat in my car. She can fit in there.
Works out. Definitely works out. I totally understand.
I'm not going to her crib because I don't want no guy popping up on me.
Well, I'm with you there 100%. If she's a hoe, you got to be careful. You don't know who hoes be with. So, some guys, they come in, they be mad at you. Bro, I don't even know your woman like that. I don't know your woman being a hoe on you. I don't know. I don't know if she with you. It is what it is. So yeah, you don't necessarily want to bring the drama to your crib. That's how I look at it. Now, y'all. But I'm being. This is to me a very serious subject, and this is where you actually get the Black community to change. If you want a lot of the dysfunctional single mother, anti-family people to get their stuff in order, and I'm talking about the men, women, and the children. If you want them to get their stuff in order, you got to give them something that can be respected. And see, that reality scale I came up with, that ain't got nobody's name on it. Okay. Now, it looks like Lady D got mad about it, but that didn't have Lady D name on it. That's just a scale I put up for any sister. Okay. Not that other women couldn't use it either, but that scale was put there for any sister. It ain't got nobody's name on it. Okay. Dealing with this subject today, how long can a woman be good and single? This is something that Black women need to actually think about. Because why are you 27 and you're trying to convince guys that you're this great person? Because a lot of them don't self-reflect. So when they hit their 30th birthday and they're an official loser at that point, a lot of them just can't take it. Now my thing is, as I've talked to women, I get them saying, well, I'm not no loser because of X, Y, and Z. Man, being a loser ain't got nothing to do with none of that. The fact is you're not married. Whatever you did in your life did not equate to you being able to get a husband. No man saw you as good enough to marry. So obviously whatever you did, it wasn't the right things. It just is what it is. It was not the right things. Okay? Because women will say, well, I got this job over here and I was doing this. So I went to college and got this degree. I did this. None of that means anything unless you got married. If you made good choices, you'd have a husband to prove it. As Black men, we got to get comfortable giving women these messages. If you made good choices, you would have a husband to prove it. Okay?
Ain't no good woman after 22. If she's 22 and she's not married, again, now some ain't right with you. And
Well,
also, there is no such thing as a good woman, but she happens to be a single mother. I'm like, sorry.
I mean, the thing is it's not about whether she's a mother. If she was a good woman, then more than likely she's going to avoid that in the first place. But I'm not going to say people can't turn it around, because the thing is, I'm not condemning anybody. If you're past 22, why can't you figure out how to be good? And this is where men we got to really start calling certain things into action. Just because you're at a certain place in your life don't mean you can't change. Now, unfortunately, and this is just realistic, most people will not change unless they go through something they perceive as a religious experience or some form of trauma. That's just reality at the end of the day. So, a lot of women who talk to me about this stuff and say, "Well, you don't think a woman can change?" No, I ain't gonna tell you a woman can't change, but I'm also being realistic about who changes. A lot of people will not change unless they have a religious experience or they go through some form of trauma. Now, people voluntarily just changing with nothing in the background. No, that don't really happen. And I know that may sound hard, but that's reality. Most folks just ain't gonna change because they want to. I'm not saying it's impossible for somebody to change because they want to, but in reality, most people will not take that approach. Just is what it is. Now we got Inspired Truth who just showed up, so let me let him get the mic. You got it, my brother.
All right, first off, let me make sure that I'm coming in loud and clear. Can you hear me? Is my mic working well?
Yeah, you all good, brother. You all good.
All right, well, salute to you, Raj, and salute to the chat. This is a very much needed discussion that we are having here because a lot of our dysfunction kind of is rooted in this. On top of that, um, there's there is a little bit of merit in kind of explaining how we got here. Like a lot of this, at least from what I saw, is like back in the 90s, there was like this big major push to kind of like normalize 304 of them. It was like, oh, well, look, it's not fair, it's not equitable. It needs to be equal and equivalent. If a guy gets to run through a bunch of women and gets to be called the man, then I need to be called the woman too. You know what I'm saying? Like that's kind of like a little bit of where that idea comes from, and it comes from the essential fallacy that that a man and a woman are the same thing, and they're not. Like a lock that can be opened by any key is kind of worthless, but a key that can open any lock actually has a whole lot of value. Like men and women actually want like different things. A guy that does get into a situation where he can get with a bunch of different women, he's kind of displayed some competence. Like women actually like a competent man, and a woman, what a woman wants is going to be different from what a guy wants. A guy wants somebody that can actually attach to him, somebody that's actually like loyal to him. Like I'm not really looking for a whole lot of sexual experience out of somebody that you're going to try to make a life with, like a long-term life with, because you want something saved for you. You want unique experiences with somebody that you're going to be in the long haul with. And I might be going over. I don't want to go too long, but I think that might be probably my 2 minutes there.
Well, I'm gonna disagree with one thing because you said women will want to be with a guy. If a guy can get with women, it displays some type of confidence. When women were better people, that was true. I would say that when women were better people in general, that's a very true thing. Now we got so many hoes that I can't even say that no more. You know, that should be the case, but women are just hoes now, so you don't need anything to be with them. You know,
At least Well, so there's like different types of competence. So you have competence in terms of life skills, but then there's that really shallow type of competence that's just like purely sexual competence as well, and that's kind of valued as well.
nah. I'm gonna say no. That's something men project onto women. Women don't know how a man is competently sexually until she has sex with him. We
True.
we we do that because we have egos and we want to believe that there's a good reason for a woman accepting us or rejecting us. We want to believe that there's a good reason. The truth is there ain't no good reason because they ain't got no standards. What you saying should exist,
Mhm.
but we got hoes that take anything, so it doesn't exist. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying you're wrong. That's how way it used to be. I'm saying you're right if you think about what the way it used to be. But when you got hoes that would accept anything, you can't really say that. My confidence has nothing to do with what I can have. Because I told y'all the story about me being 18 years old with a 29-year-old woman who had her own place and everything, and I didn't have anything. I wasn't confident in any way. If she thought I was sexually confident, you got to have sex with me to find out. So why did she ever let me in her place to have sex with her?
That one's a power dynamic thing, like a power trip type
Exactly.
side thing. Yeah.
They're hoes. So what you saying should be in place, but it's not in place. Being with a woman isn't proof of anything anymore. And I understand there are some men who don't like that because they take it as a shot to their ego. But when you stop putting women as who you answer to, it won't bother you so much. Because there are guys who say, well, I got a wife. I've been with her for 17 years. And they'll say it in like a bragging way because they think that means they're a man. Now, it don't mean you a man. It's good. I'm not saying having a wife is a bad thing because I'm a very pro-marriage person, but I'm also realistic about the world I live in. Me bagging a bunch of chicks ain't really saying nothing because I don't need nothing to bag. You know, everybody can show up with the same nothing. You know, so men have to see themselves outside of women, and that's how we know we in the right. When you see yourself within women, you in the wrong. Women are something that's supposed to be seen within us. Even if and y'all know I'm a biblical, but I believe the Bible. The woman came out of the man. So it totally makes sense for a woman to see herself in a man. I didn't come out of a woman, so I cannot see myself within a woman. It just don't fit in no kind of way for me, you know. And because they're hoes, I definitely can't measure a man by his woman because they hoes. If you get a good one, I do nothing but give you props. It's great. I like to see good black marriages and all that type of stuff. I'm a very pro marriage person, especially when it includes black people. But I'm very pro marriage, especially when it includes a black man, just period. But at the end of the day, I'm never gonna measure the man by the woman. No, I'm gonna measure him based on him, not based on her. It's just great to have a good one if you caught one. But I do understand the chances of catching a good one ain't that big because by the time a woman hits her 23rd birthday, she probably either already engaged or married if she's single. We're not leaving single women out here on the market. That's something I done been peeped. We just not doing it. So that's why I say if with the virgin, a woman who's claiming she's a virgin at 27, I'm not saying she wasn't a virgin, but how horrible of a person do you have to be with the men around you won't marry the virgin? You got to have a horrible attitude for that to happen. But Champ Cop for Life is coming up, something to go ahead and give him the mic. But I'm gonna read this real quick from Roastmaster One. He said, Roger's right. She'll reject the CEO, but lay down immediately with the homeless guy. Yeah, y'all, as crazy as that sound, that is true. As crazy as that sound, we just in the world where that's true nowadays, which is
She's paying a
ridiculous.
genetic tax on that one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Roger, that is true. That's a true statement what that brother just said.
yeah.
Now, these
But you
ladies,
got it, champ. You got it.
that's a true statement I just read over here. The thing is that, it's just that a lot of these ladies, the granocracy movement that has been going on has really allowed this to happen and everything else. And ever since the sexual revolution of back in the 1960s was at the forefront, that's when all hell broke loose, and that's how a lot of these ladies, and it really affected, black women. It just came loose and everything else, where ladies were just saying, I I I can do bad all by myself. It's my body and it's my choice, all that type of stuff. But then when they get in the jam and everything else, when it ended up becoming a single mother and everything else, and all the things get cut down and everything else, somehow or some way, it's the man's fault. The man, the man's not doing his responsibility and everything else. Why aren't they protecting us and everything else and all that type of stuff? So, this society that we're living in here today, this granocracy movement and everything else, it has really come back to really haunt these ladies right now. They really have. The feminist movement has really, really jacked up a lot of these ladies today. Doesn't matter, what color they are. It really has. So I'm gonna land my plane there.
Now, what I'm going to say, y'all, in order to get stuff back in order, somebody got to do something about it, which means you're going to actually have to start explaining this stuff to women. Okay, not just the women you mess with, but especially the women who know you and look up to you. So your daughters, your nieces, your granddaughters, especially, maybe their friends. Pull that reality scale out on. Explain some of this stuff to them, because at the end of the day, women are going to get away with what they can. That's the way they've always been. I'm pretty sure that's the way they always gonna be. So if you want them to look at the world different, you got to give them something different to look at. It just is what it is. And I've noticed that with past streams I've done, men don't necessarily want to talk to women, but you do have influence over women that know you. Okay, there are women who look to you, and you can start with them. You don't have to necessarily start with a stranger. Now, if you're more comfortable starting with a stranger because they don't know you, that's fine too. But the thing is, you got to tell them something different, and you have to explain to them why getting older and being single is not a good look. Because it's just saying you failed from one year to the next. Okay, you didn't get married at 18 years old. Okay, I can understand that to a certain degree. You only failed your first year out. Okay. You didn't get married at 19. It's only your second year out. Okay, cool. I don't expect you to be proficient. You're only 19. But how many years do you need to be picked to be a wife? Now, I'm not going to say you're just not a good person at all just because you passed the age of 22, but it does become questionable. I'm just going to keep it real. It does become questionable because I don't remember meeting a 23-year-old that was a great person and nobody wanted to marry her. I don't remember that. I done met 23-year-olds who were already married. I done hollered at them. When I was a younger cat, I was literally hollering at 23 years old who was already married or already engaged. I just don't see good women being left on the market. I'm not saying you can't have this almost impossible situation where one woman is left on the market and she's actually good. But I don't believe that. Let's just keep it real. I don't believe that. If you're a great woman, the market ain't leaving you out there. And at the end of the day, you can claim you turning down a bunch of rings, but at the end of the day, you just a dummy at the end of the day. Because if these were great guys and you're turning the rings down, now I can't even see you as intelligent, which is why you got left on the market because you're not smart. Okay, and if you believe everybody who proposed to you is a loser, that means you had a relationship that was so intense that he would actually go get a ring and propose. So why were you having so much sex with a guy who would propose and want you to be his wife, but you think he's a loser? That does
Yeah,
not say an intelligent woman made a decision. Nothing about that says the woman who made that decision is an intelligent woman.
we
That
have to
says
add,
she's kind of slow.
we have to add some more verbiage
Yeah,
to the lexicon because they've kind of like taken that, the term hoe and just kind of just put it off into a box where you can do this and still not be it. You can do that and not do that. Like we've kind of
yeah,
like pushed it so far to the point where we'll have like full on prostitutes like, well, I don't do this every day, so I'm not really technically a 304. I'm like, come on now,
yeah.
like we
It's
Well,
almost
we
like
gotta
it's
come up with
almost like
something else.
yeah.
Same
It's like they
hoes.
draw. It's like they're drawing their own boxes, their own boundaries of what they should what they want to do and everything else, and what they don't want what they don't want to be exposed of what they've been doing and everything else. Well, I don't. I mean, I go to the club with my girls and everything else. We talking with men and everything else. I'll have a one night stand with them, but that's not really nothing and everything else. Just want to try to get to know the guy and all that type of stuff. They're just trying to make their own boundaries and everything else.
well, well, this is the thing. You ain't calling them out. And I'm not saying y'all on the panel. I'm just saying in general, you're not calling them out. As men, do we call women out for stupid stuff? No, we don't.
No,
We sit there and let them say stupid stuff and act like it ain't stupid. Like I've been totally trying to get y'all to stop accepting these terms that women make up. like situationship. There is no such thing as a situationship. It's just some woman having sex with some guy who she wants to be with. They won't claim her. That's it. So you got a dumb woman. If that's her choice to be dumb, I'm not gonna clown her. You know what I'm saying? Because she's quote unquote dumb. No, but I gotta clown the fact that you're choosing to be dumb because you could be smarter. It is what it is, and I'm not gonna act like that ain't what it was. If you've ever been in a situationship, I don't ever want to be with you because you're stupid. I don't. Why would I be with a woman who's that dumb? At the end of the day, I don't want to be. I don't want that attached to me, and that's just real talk. I've never accepted the term, never will. At some point in time, stop letting women lead and you be the leader. You got to be comfortable leading these women and stop letting them just say stupid stuff to you and act like it's okay. Go ahead, Inspire.
Oh, I was just gonna say that that's why I appreciate your phrase that stupidity is a choice, because a lot of times you'll have, these ladies, and then, maybe they might say like, oh, hey, you got these degrees and this, that, and the other, but then like they're moving dumb. But then when you call them out on moving dumb, then they kind of try to like deflect to some of that other stuff to try to kind of to not deal with the fact of the matter that they're doing something dumb, basically. Like, it's not inherent stupidity, it's like an actual choice.
Yeah. And my thing is, I'm not letting you off the hook because you did something stupid. Because you can claim you don't know anything. Everybody can make that claim. Well, I didn't know, I didn't know. And see, this is the thing that I've learned about excuses. Once you accept one, they all count, which means I don't accept any. I don't
Yeah, that
accept excuses and I don't make them.
Yeah, that
You
kind
know,
of ties into that whole idea of adolescence into adulthood type of thing, where we're like sitting here and then talking about like, oh, Cassie didn't know what she was doing, she's not responsible for it, blah 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 blah, or whoever next person it is that's kind of like 26 and they're saying like, oh well, the brain doesn't develop until your 30s. I'm like, come on, we're not making the age of consent 35 anytime soon.
my thing is I don't care how old you was if you long as you was 18. And if that's a problem, then we need to get together and change what the law says an adult is. Unless y'all that serious about it, I don't want to hear it at the end of the day. I just don't care. You were not a minor. You were 18, so it is what it is. I don't care nothing about your reason at that point because you were 18. Maybe I care about a minor's reason. Okay, because I'm gonna try to help the minor be in a situation where they're not doing the same dumb thing at 18. But if you 18, I don't really care nothing about your reason. I don't give two. I'm just gonna say I don't care nothing about your reason. I'll just leave it at that. I don't care nothing about your reasoning. The only thing I care about is what you actually did. The reason for it, I don't care. You could tell me you did it because you was hurt as a child. I don't actually care. You can say somebody molested me. I don't care. You can say that I was afraid. I don't care. You was over 18. You supposed to be done got past all that other stuff at the end of the day. So I literally don't care. You know, if you're not gonna hold people to a standard, the standard won't exist. That's the only thing I do know. And because I'm a black man, and it's so rare for black men to get a pass, it's extremely easy for me to not give passes out because I'm used to not getting them. So what's the big deal about me giving somebody a pass? It's very easy for me not to give you a pass. Now I know for some reason a lot of black men, we are much more willing to give people passes. But I just think about how the world treats me. And I think about what has it done for me that I didn't get a pass. Well, not getting a pass made me straighten up. So I think I'm doing you a favor to not give you a pass.
Well, yeah, I mean, men are actually held accountable, but like our society just really doesn't have much of a track record of actually holding the women accountable like that. So everything else could be used as an excuse. Oh, what happened when you were 9 years old? What happened when you were 13 years old? What happened when you were 14 years old? Anything and everything. Oh, well, I didn't know any better at 25. And we don't necessarily look at like the other side of things, like, okay, well, maybe you have like cognitive decline after 40 or 45 or something, but that side kind of like gets ignored, and we just kind of specifically focus on things that allow for a lack of accountability, on the female side.
And then my thing is, then that's what we need to recognize what we're doing wrong and change something. Because if you 18, I don't care what happened to you at 9. Now, I mean, if you want to share a story just to share a story, that's fine. You know what I'm saying? If you want to tell me something funny that happened to you at 9 years old, that's cool. You can tell me something that was extremely disturbing to you that happened to you at 9. That's cool. But what you cannot do at 18 years old is tell me anything that happened to you when you was 9, and I carry it and I give you a pass on something you did at 18. I don't care what happened to you at 9. You 18 now. You know?
Hey, Roger. Women have to be trained. I mean, if you want to have an athlete, if you want to be successful, you have to train for what you want to do. And a husband, a woman with a father and a mother who has trained them, by the time they're 18, they should be ready to get married. They don't, and then they need to be trained by their husband so that they can have a good life. Going out here trying to be doing all these things is not. You need to be trained, and you can't train an old dog new tricks. You know what I'm saying? You need to be young and pliable to be trained well.
That's absolutely correct. But on top of that, we have something that makes it even worse, which is the idea that if you do anything that a man actually wants, then that's framed as oppressive. It's oppression when you're doing anything that a guy actually benefits from if it doesn't benefit you first and foremost.
And see, that's part of the training, that you have to be trained to understand that you are supposed to be a helpmate for your husband, and you
What?
better be able to do that while you're young than
What?
as you get old with a lot of bad experiences.
What? See, I'm gonna say this because we're humans. There is no excuse. See, I'm not saying it's not. I won't say it's better if a woman's already trained when she's young, because yeah, automatically that's gonna be better. But if you're an adult and you were untrained, then you still should be able to do what I tell you to do, and you should be able to take training. Every adult I'm aware of that ever had any kind of job took training. Everybody can be trained, and I'm just saying this because the way I hear people saying they need to be trained. We say it as if it's an excuse that they're an adult and can't change what they've been doing. If you get a job at Kmart, they train you. You get a job at McDonald's, they train you. You get a job, even if you're a CEO of some kind, they train you. I don't know of any job where they don't train an actual adult. So adults can be trained. So even if you were untrained, there's still no excuse at the end of the day. We're humans. We can think for ourselves. So to me, there's never an excuse. So I would not use the way you grew up as an excuse for why you cannot perform as an adult.
That's correct.
Makes
That's correct. And you have to, if you are have been messed up, that means you have to train harder and faster to get to where you want to go to rapidly.
Exactly.
You have to put pressure on yourself because of your whatever problems that you had in the past. That means you got to get it together quickly.
Yeah. You just got more work to do than somebody else. Not my problem at the end of the day. You know, get over it. Get the work done. And that's it. But, if we don't actually make an effort to have young people understand that the older you get as an adult, you're only proving to the world that you're a trash individual as a woman. Their mindsets don't change. So we got to put it out there, because if you were 26 years old and just a wonderful person, I'm not gonna meet you unmarried. Let's just keep it real. The chance of me meeting a 26-year-old who is unmarried, who is a delightful person to be around, is next to none. Let's just be real about this. But the thing is, as men, we don't want to say this type of stuff to women because women take it as offensive, just like the lady D did earlier. Saying this stuff, she obviously responded the way she did because she was offended by what was being said. None of this stuff was about her. Okay, I don't know that lady, but she was offended by it. Why would some random woman be offended by this stuff? Because they're not hearing it on a regular basis, and we
out.
don't have to let that be the case.
I'm not sure why she was so offended. I mean, she had to go out of her way to actually come here in the first place.
I mean, I welcome her to be here, but the thing is, a standard is a standard. And
Yeah.
I can't change a standard just because you passed 30. Because I'm pretty sure that's what it was. It was about the fact she probably older than 30. You know what I'm saying? I can't change what the standard is. No, you just got to fix yourself. That's it. You know, and telling me about some random profiles don't change the fact that you're an unmarried woman at the end of the day. Yeah. Notice she never said I'm married. She wanted to say all kinds of stuff to me, but she never said I'm married.
Yeah, and I mean, on top of that, like a lot of what we're kind of like seeing is like one like the best of like both worlds. Like for the most part, SMV for a woman, yeah, that's mostly on the younger side of things rather than on the older side of things, because it takes guys a little while to kind of like up our value and whatnot. But when you're kind of like into the exploitative deal, you want to try to frame that value as a forever type of value, so you can always claim that you're above somebody.
Well, my thing is that depends on how you view yourself. When you're an 18-year-old guy and you out of high school, you are full of nothing but potential. You can become anything. If you don't see that as valuable, that's your own fault. Because my thing is, men don't think highly enough of themselves. I'm 18 years old going into the world. I can get anything done. I'm younger. I'm strong. I may not have the wisdom of other people, but I can gain access to other people's wisdom. I'm nothing but potential at the end of the day. I'm somebody. And you better attach yourself to me so you can be where I'm gonna end up. That's how men are supposed to think. So why would you assume your sexual market value is low and you 18? I don't get that. I never
Proof of
assumed
concept.
mine was low.
I think it's the proof. I think it's the proof, and on top of that, like I kind of see, at least it might be anecdotal, but like the folk that are like really capable of the most kind of have like some of the lowest, they have some of the lowest appreciation for themselves sometimes because they know that they're capable of a hell of a lot more.
I think a lot of men, they look at themselves like they're a woman. So you don't appreciate what you are at the end of the day. And the thing is, we don't require women to do what they should do. Shorty, I'm available to you now. You better take advantage. And if you're unwilling to take advantage, I ain't looking at you later. I ain't worried about you. Just is what it is. It's come on. Because they got to take a risk to be with you, but you got to take a risk to be with them. And for some reason, a lot of men been trained that they should take all the risk. That's why you have a lot of men saying stupid stuff right now. Yeah, I'm gonna pay all the bills, and my woman ain't got to do nothing. Okay, bro, it's nothing wrong with paying all the bills, but the fact that your woman ain't got to do nothing don't make you nothing but a sucker at the end of the day. Adam had the whole world. Okay, Eve had to do something. Just is what it is. She still had to. She had to help him, which means she had to do something. Now you may not understand what the something was, but she had to help. You can't, she wasn't doing nothing. So the thing is, you got to value yourself at some point. Now, me, I've always valued me. Well, therefore, women gonna have a job when they're with me anyway. I am gonna tell women what to do. I understand that society puts out a message that you shouldn't tell them what to do. Society don't pay my bills, so I don't care what society talking about. Who paying my bills? So my woman got to help. It's that simple at the end of the day. Now, I'm not saying I'm gonna make a woman go outside the house and work. She can if she want to, but if you do that, you will be turning that check over, and you will only get your allowance. And that's just what it come out to at the end of the day. Or you're gonna stay at home and take care of the stuff that you can do without working outside the home for anybody else other than myself. Now, I don't care which one it is, for real, for real. The only time it's gonna be an issue for me if I got small children that are not in school. My wife won't be allowed to work outside the home if I got small children that are not in school. That comes with territory because that's my rule. But a lot of us, we've been told we ain't supposed to have no rules. Why would I be paying for somebody that I can't make no rule? You get what you pay for, don't you?
Sometimes.
No, me all the time. If I can't get what I'm paying for, I ain't paying for. It's that simple at the end of the day. you know. And I think a lot of men ain't just that quick, easy, and blunt about what their life situation is. You know, a woman can get me to do all kinds of stuff if she's willing to pay for it. The thing is, women don't like paying for men. You know, we see this even when women go after bum dudes. What they do, they go after a bum dude. They try to get him to be something other than a bum dude, and then they want him to start taking care of everything, but have an understanding that he's nothing without her. So they don't like paying for anything.
Yep,
And that's
true.
you can't be in charge. You don't want to pay. That's my thing. I ain't
Yeah,
tripping that you're not in charge, but you can't be in charge and not want to pay.
and on the reverse side of it, if the black man's is an athlete making money and all that type of stuff, she expects him to pay for everything: the house, her car, her bills, every damn thing.
Well, my thing is her expectations should be what you told them they should be. See, a lot of men we worry about what the expectations women have on their own. The expectations is what I tell you they are, because this is what we doing. You know, if she
I
wants
guess
something else to be included, she needs to come to me and say, "Can you include this as an expectation for us?" And if you don't do that, it's not even on the table.
kind of circling back to the idea of like we get what we paid for. We should get what we pay for, but we do kind of like in our society that we live in, it's like a highly marketing commercial society. So we're often kind of presenting, oh, you're gonna get this car and it's gonna be this, that, and the other, and then you get the thing and you're like, what the hell is this? You know, oh, the new iPhone 17 is coming out. It's gonna be spectacular. You get it. It's like, wait a minute, where's all the stuff that you were talking about before? I mean, it's kind of like a little bit of scam culture is always thrown into the mix.
Yeah. All I'm gonna say is, if they keep fooling you, you probably want to stop purchasing their products. That's me. you know.
That's a good policy.
You know, I mean, that's how I look at it. You know, you can only give me a bad deal so many times because I'm just not gonna pay for something I don't want, because that's just not my world. You know, my parents been training me about that since I was a child. You know, do not buy what you don't want because you're gonna be the person stuck with it. And I believe that. And I found that to be very true. So I just don't like paying for stuff that I don't want. You know, and that has worked great for me. You know.
Yeah, I guess you get what I was getting at too. That whole like, yeah, chicks will come in and they'll be like great for like the first several 6, 7 months, and then later on down the road, once they think they got you, that thing whole switches up. You know,
Yeah.
goes a
And
whole 180.
you know what? I'm not gonna say women don't do that. But with me, once you code switch, you're gonna switch me in too. Cause I'm not gonna be there no more. And that's me. I will get rid of a woman like it ain't nothing. You know, I'm gonna tell you what it is when you get there. If you agree to that this is real and we gonna make this happen, that's fine. Once you code switch, you gone though. Cause I told you what it was already. Which is why I encourage men to never lie to women. Because you can always just tell them easy, and it's easy on you as a man just to get rid of a chick that you never lied to, because you don't think you owe them nothing. I told you what it was before you got here. You knew what the deal was. You broke the deal. You can go. You don't feel bad at all. But when you lie to them, sometimes it messes you up, and then you be doing stuff out of guilt. I don't do anything out of guilt. That's why if you change up on me, I'm gonna change who I'm with, because I don't feel bad at all. But let me let my main man AL get in here. He didn't came up. You got it, my brother.
What's good, Roger? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Peace to the panel in the chat. Long live the habitual line steppers. You know how we do. Yeah. Yeah, I'm in full agreement. Don't lie to them. Don't play no games. Tell them what it is, what it's about. The minute you see a shift in attitude, her desires and her wishes to fulfill whatever needs she's supposed to be fulfilled for you, and you see you get a whip of it, look, I'm out. Why you at? You know why I'm out. I told you why I'm out. I don't play. Well, no, you think I'm finna fall for your gaslighting and your manipulative ways? No. I laid everything out on the table from the jump in the beginning. You thought this was, Oh, I could change the game. I can change his mind at any time. Like I can change my mind like I changed my jaws. No, heifer, it doesn't work that way. Never has, but you know, like I said, what we almost 60, close to 70 years deep in this gynocracy. This has been a game of fooling they've been playing on brothers. And when you raise and live in a single parent household, namely females, who perpetuate this shit and don't teach these boys how to be forthright and upcoming. You teach them how to do everything they need to do to be a pack mule, be a tool, be whatever it is you need to be for you, but you ain't never teach this boy how to be forthright and honest and teach him how to look for all the games that you play on him, i.e., the mother to the son, uh, 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 or woman to men. He doesn't have the fortitude or the mental capacity to just, man, look, how do I cope with this? How do I deal with this? How so that's where you get those brothers who I got to lie to her in order to smooth this over. I got to worry about how she feels. See, you made me use that word, Roger. You ain't crap, Roger. You ain't crap. I do not believe in that. That word is
Yeah, I
destructive.
mean, feelings have their place. They have their place, but a lot of times people try to put it where it don't belong. You know.
Roger, that word is fundamentally destructive. Point blank. There's no other way you can, sell that bill of goods to me. It's trash. And on top of that, but what about mine? No, I don't give a damn about your, because they mean nothing to me. Because men are logical, rational thinking human beings. We don't get down off of that. How you see how I'm leaving it blank now, Roger. I ain't even gonna. I'm not even play. I'm not. I digress because this subject I've been listening. It's been running me 32 hot anyway.
What the thing is, because I want men to start expressing to women the older you get as an adult, where you're 18 years old and you got your high school diploma. Now, why do I throw the high school diploma in there? Because number one, I don't want you to just be an idiot. And there's people who do not get their high school diplomas. And if you won't even get your high school diploma, that's not necessarily good for American society. You're not saying that you're gonna really do anything. Now, so you want to go back to school, get your high school diploma, go get your GED, so we can know you're serious about something. But if you're 18 and you got your high school diploma, at the end of the day, you're supposed to be making the good life decisions at this point, and the stuff that you do will have much more weight on your life than choices you made as a child. You got to understand you're in the world of adults at this particular point. And I'm going to require you to do some smart, good stuff. And this is the thing, y'all. And I'm just saying this because I happen to be doing some scrolling and I see a clip. Maybe I add it to later. I possibly add it later. Not saying I'll get necessarily good, but I might add it to the description later. Somebody put up a clip and it says Clarissa Shields dropped by a 6'1" male boxer. Now, I guess somebody's trying to make fun of this. I guess that's what the goal is, to make fun of it. But see, to me,
Roger, I seen the clip too. It's going viral, and it's not to make fun. It's just to give these heifers, these broads, and Carissa Shields a whole helping dose of reality. Don't play with a grown man. I don't care who you think you knocked down before, and they probably allowed you to knock them down. Any real man who steps in the ring with determined not to play with you, he will put you down, woman.
Well, hold on, because my thing is, I'm not trying to come at this from any kind of immature place. To me, it's silly that they put it up in the first place. What do you expect?
Yeah,
She's a female boxer fight a
Yeah.
6'1" boxer. Like it's I
No.
yo
Yeah.
What has
I mean,
Carissa Shields been saying? What has
no
Carissa Shields been saying, Kenny?
but
She can whoop men. She
hold on,
can whoop
hold on, y'all. Because my point is this: there's real expectations out here in the world that we're supposed to have.
Mhm.
When
yeah.
you're fighting a 6'1" boxer as a female, now if she was 6'1", that would be different, but she ain't. She fighting a 6'1" boxer.
A
This
male
this is
boxer
what
too.
her getting knocked down should be an expectation, not a revelation. That's my point. This should not
Yeah.
be put up, and people shouldn't be treated as a revelation. It should be an expectation, and that's what. And this is where men start reducing themselves to women. You know, we want to look at ourselves from this woman's perspective a lot of the time. You got to have an expectation that something is supposed to be different for you. And that's kind of why I'm doing this stream. As men, we got to make women understand there's going to be a different expectation for you. So when you grow up and you become this adult woman who's let loose into the market, and the market is, people who could marry, you 18 years old, you done got your high school diploma, okay, or technically even GED for somebody who want to go in that direction. Well, you're supposed to be out there getting you a husband at that point. If you go to college, that's fine if it helps you come up with a husband. If you go to the military, that's fine if it helps you come up with a husband. If you just stay at home and want to be a stay-at-home wife, that's fine if it helps you get a husband. Like whatever movement you do at that point, you're supposed to be trying to get you a husband because you're a woman. And you're supposed to be looking for a man to take care of you. You're supposed to be looking for a man to protect you, provide for you. But the key part is lead you. That's supposed to happen. So my thing is, we're supposed to have certain expectations. Now, when I seen this clip, I didn't have no expectation but for this big old dude to knock her down, because I see it's a woman and I see some taller guy fighting a woman. I expect her to go down. It's not a revelation to me. It's an expectation. And I'm saying that's how we got to start being realistic about things. If we don't tell women that, hey, you're young, you're supposed to be trying to find a husband, because when you old, it only means you're a loser at that point, then they're not going to have the ideal in their head, I need to go find me the guy that I'm going to be with. We got to create the environment that we want them to have, especially because a lot of men, me paying attention to what men have said, y'all believe environment controls a lot. So if you believe environment means a lot, then you got to create the environment that a woman's going to respond to in the proper way. Which is why when I talk to young girls, I'm always telling them, you need to not do this because you're going to have a husband one day, or you need to do this because you're going to have a husband one day. The goal is to have them expect to do things so they will get a husband, so they're not 28 years old, unmarried, and crazy. But
Well,
but it,
all I can say to Clarissa Shields, I hope she learns her lesson. I love her a lot. I love her watching boxing and everything. And she's one of the great female boxers of all time. But this should be a lesson to her.
I mean, ain't no lesson to learn. That's just reality. You know what I'm saying? A woman boxer fighting a guy who's around her weight, you can do something with that. Especially if it's a guy who's not as trained as you are. You could do something. She is fighting a 6'1" guy.
But he was around her weight, right? That's what you're not comprehending. He was within her weight requirements. He was just taller. That means nothing.
Yeah.
Because guess what? She kept telling the world, I'll whoop a man. I'll whoop a man. Men can be whooped. All right, like you said, she's in the delusional world. That had to happen so she could be brought into the reality of the world. Cool. We ain't gonna make fun of it, but we ain't gonna not talk about it because she brought this on herself. She was having females believing that they can whoop dudes. So guess what? That needed to happen.
Oh,
That
I'm not.
needed to happen.
I'm not. I'm not mad that it happened. I'm just saying this should have been an expectation, not a revelation. Because at the end of the day, this is a 6'1" man. So, and I was saying that if you're a more skilled fighter than a guy around your weight, as a woman, you might have a shot. But if you're the same weight, men are gonna do stuff. Men gonna hit harder. That's just gonna be in general. Men gonna hit harder anyway. So being at the same weight with a man is still dangerous for a woman. Now if you far more skilled than that man, maybe you got a good shot. But even when you talk about boxer, even if the guy's not a trained fighter, everybody got a puncher's chance. So if he just punches you as a man, you still might go down as a woman, even if you're just a far better trained fighter. There's a reason you keep stuff separate, but it needs to be expectation, not revelation. Like what y'all expect to happen when she got in the ring with that guy. You know what I'm saying? It didn't make sense for her to really get in the ring with the guy. And you know what? Sometimes people got to learn. So, I can't say you're wrong on that one, AL. People got to learn. It is what it is. And if she has been talking crazy about she can whoop men, and that's what it took for her to learn, then so be it. Now she got her lesson. So I ain't going to have no sympathy for her. But my thing is just an expectation, though. It's not a revelation. I've never thought that Clarissa Shields should go fight a man. I did hear her challenging some former boxer, in the past. Well, dude had retired to my understanding or whatever, but he only been retired for like a year and a half, and she was challenging him. I was like, man, dude should just go and whoop her for the money. You already retired. People could say all kinds of stuff, even if you knock her out real bad, but you get the check by that. You already retired. I would have just came out of retirement, fought her, got the check, went right back into retirement. I wouldn't care what people gonna say because I'm not a fighter anymore. So, my reputation after that fight ain't gonna make no difference. That's just a free check to me. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes people got to deal with that type of stuff, and they gotta. Sometimes it takes all that. I told y'all, my father taught me sometimes people got to die before they learn. Long as they learn.
Did she even duck that when that was about to come to fruition? Because she realized it was going to be what you say, Roger, not a revelation, but an expectation.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
Roger, that's the reason why we have a woman's division and a man's division. It's automatic. Everybody should know that. Even little kids know there's women and men, and we can't, you're not going to be competing against each other because women are weaker than men.
I've told little girls, if you want to jump in with these boys, don't get over here crying. This ain't the girls section. It is what it is. Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Because I understand she got to learn. So my thing is, I just let them learn at a younger age, so they don't have these stupid ideas when they adult. But that's the
stupid idea.
Well, hold on.
Say this.
Oh,
stupid
go ahead.
ideas could have been a tragedy, because if he would have thrown the right punch on the side of her temple or something like that, I mean, that could put her in a coma.
Sometimes people look for tragedy, man. Sometimes people look for tragedy. If you look hard enough for tragedy, you might find it. Which is why I was just saying.
Let me clarify something. Every single time she sparred with the female or with the male, you must pay attention. Clarissa Shields always wears all her bodyguard protective gear from head to toe. No, they was not gonna allow their money maker to get towed the fuck up by a female or a male. Hey, she's a product, fam. She's a brand at this point. You're not gonna let her go in the ring and spar willy-nilly without no headgear. They know even those trainers know there's a strong chance and a possibility she might not walk up out of it. That's why they constantly keep the head guard, mouthpiece, and the little rib thing that they wear around their waist.
All right. Now shout out to Serious Raj. Serious Raj said Mike Tyson under 6 feet, which is technically true. But what I was saying was, when I say I let a little girl go and do stuff with the boys, it's just so she can learn a lesson early. What your expectations should be. Because I'm always trying to push girls to, you need to understand there's certain things you need to have in place so you can get a husband one day. If you sitting down with your legs open, it's not going to be attractive to men who are marry a woman. You see what I'm saying? You got to learn to close your legs or cross your legs or something. You got to teach girls to be a girl that a man would want to be around. And the thing is, a lot of women don't teach that. So men going to have to do it. It is what it is at the end of the day. And I understand this will make a lot of men uncomfortable. But if you're not teaching your niece to do this, if you ain't teaching your daughter to do this, your granddaughter to do this, your cousin to do this, they ain't gonna be they're never going to be available. Because as far as what society is doing, they're trying to push them to do stuff they ain't got no business doing. And a lot of women don't even understand they're talking dysfunction when they're talking dysfunction, like the young lady did in the chat. The young lady tried to brag that she had a sheik and a prince, and she said, "I got them in my friend zone." You an idiot. If that
Who
was
said
ever
this?
to be true, you're an idiot. You know.
Who said this? Did this
Now,
happen early on the show or something?
it happened earlier where some woman made that claim. You know, and I'm just saying, even if that claim was true, which I don't believe it at all, but if that claim was true, you're publicly saying how stupid you are. Because not only did you turn down the sheik, you turned down the prince. So you had two opportunities to get with men in great positions, and you was dumb enough to miss out on both opportunities, and you stupid enough to brag about it in the public place. That's incredibly stupid at the end of the day, you know. But again, we got to create an environment where women are looking to do what makes sense. And I said earlier how even women, even though it came from a negative place, they call women pick-me's for getting picked. Women don't even understand the importance of getting picked, which is ridiculous for women.
Hold on. Isn't that the goal in life for a woman to get picked by a man? For a man to say, okay, I want to engage to you. I want you to be my fiance, and I want to marry you, and I want to put a ring on your finger. Isn't that the whole purpose? But you trying to take what they're trying to take what's natural and orderly and what's been going on for millennia in a day and make it bad thing. And these stupid head cases of what you want to call females actually buy into this stuff, like they buy into this stupid colorism stuff, all things that are perpetuated and propped up and held to a stupid standard because of them and of them and by them. This is all of them problem, not a us problem.
No, AL, it's a us problem when it comes to the fact that we're not having females learn what they need to learn when they're growing up. That is a us problem because they are becoming women we don't want. And the whole thing is the women who are around ain't gonna teach them better. So we gonna have to do it.
Hey, Roger, it falls on your first teacher who teaches you how to grow up and be a person. And if you constantly being raised in a 95% community full of single household parentry, i.e., single moms who are straight up on that gynocracy tip and been on it for 60, close to 70 years, since 64, teaching this nonsense. No, you can't say it's a us problem. That's a them problem, Roger. They never do their job. They never do their job. I'm never gonna obfuscate this shit, Roger.
No. What I'm saying is solving the problem is gonna be on us because at the end of the day, we don't need little girls growing up to be idiots.
So every time they make a mess, every time they rebel, every time they act the ass, every time they act outside themselves, or they change their minds like they change their jobs, every time they're a total menace to the community and society and a detriment because of the decisions they make, a lack of accountability or obligation, it's our job as men.
Yeah, I'm not telling you fix old bras who are idiots. I'm saying I'm not saying fix an old bra. You're arguing something I'm not arguing. What I am saying is you have to have influence over younger women and create an expectation. If we don't create an expectation of them of what we want as men, they're never gonna have it.
Okay, now, it sounds good.
I'm not telling you, hold on, AL. I'm not telling you fix anybody. What I'm saying is, as men, we want certain things. It is on us to tell people what our expectation of what they should be for us. We got to do that. We can't tell them how to be. We can't not tell them how to be the women we want and expect them to somehow become that. That's not going to happen.
That's like
I'm not saying fix an old broad.
That's like trying to straight up here, Roger. You want us to tell them what we want when they have been indoctrinated for 70 years.
The ones that are indoctrinating are old bras that I'm not asking you to do anything with.
And who the old boys teaching, sir? You keep failing
I'm
to this
AL.
shit has
There's
been
women. You have
great.
women. Oh, you have influence over people, man. There's people who look to you, and every man has influence over young ladies. Every man got influence over young ladies. You worry about their mamas. Let their mamas go. The mamas is done. I'm saying the youth, man. You got to tell them what the expectation is. They can't grow up to be the right woman copying their mamas. We don't want their mamas.
Right.
I'm not telling you fix their mamas.
You're right. But check it out, bro. Check it out. My grandfather used to tell me a long time ago before he put my ass right there, I can lead you to water, but I can't make you drink. Do you understand that analogy? Do you, sir? Do
Of
you?
course I understand it.
Okay, so with that being said, you keep wanting us to lead these old nags, these
I
wannabe
didn't
men.
say do anything with the old name. You worried about the wrong generation,
I'm
AL.
talking about old nags, young males. You want us to lead them to this water hole, and they got their nose turned up, and they turning their ass around to the edge of the water and shitting in it. No, sir.
AL, let the old bras go, man. They're gone already. Let them go. Leave them
You
alone.
get to the young boys, bro. I need you to come to the land of reality, sir.
No, there is a land of
I
reality.
just keep
The
always
land.
hoping in this
No. AL, there is a land of reality. The young ladies that you happen to know who respect you, they're going to do what you say, and you can use their own mamas. Look at your mama. Look at your grandma. You see how don't nobody want them? Now what you're doing is you're cutting even off the idea that I should even follow those women because they can clearly see don't nobody want their mamas and their grandmamas. I do that to you. I do that with young ladies all the time. Look how don't nobody want your auntie. Look how don't nobody want your grandma. Look how don't nobody want your mama. And all the girls say is, "Yep, you're right." They don't ever fight me on that because they see don't nobody want them. And the thing is, you close the door for them to listen to women who ain't no good. You got to close that door. And that's how you do it. But if you never say anything to younger women about what men want, they're never going to grow up to be something that we do want. Now, the thing is, as an older man, that ain't going to necessarily help you, but it will help men in the future. So now you just got to make a decision. Am I willing to help, even though it ain't going to necessarily solve my personal problem, but it can solve problems of our community in the future? So it's just, am I going to make a personal choice to do something may help my son or my grandson, per se, or do I just not say nothing and let them keep on doing what they've been doing? Because if we just let them keep doing what they've been doing, we already know what we're going to get because we already got it. That's why I'm saying you got to let the old bras go. This ain't about old bras. Old bras ain't going to fix nothing. We know they not going to fix nothing. They've proven they not going to fix nothing. And truth be told, even when the older women try, most of them are not equipped to fix anything. If I want to be real, I can tell that from social media, hearing old women trying to talk to women. Most of them don't even know what they're talking about.
Well, kind sir, I believe you had another panelist come up. You might want to get him a chance.
No, he already been up before. But you know what? I will say this. I'll let him in so we can get some last word, y'all. We are at the 2-hour 57-minute mark. So let's get some last words in. And Tunnel Runner, since you just came back up, let's let you go first with the last words. Oh, Tunnel Runner going once. Tunnel Runner going twice. We can't hear you this time, brother. I don't know what's happening, but we can't hear you. Yeah, we can't hear you, brother. Sorry. All right, AL, your last words on this?
I'm totally in black pill mode right now, so I'm not trying to fix them. I'm not trying to save them. My daughter included. Don't really want to, even though I am going to get my pound of flesh at the end of this month. Newsflash, ex-wife called me last night. She said, "I'm gonna need you." I said, "Need me for what?" That court case coming up on your nephew. The oldest one, both of them. I want both of them, truly, because both of them did it to her. But the oldest one is gonna be going to trial, and he's gonna be facing 25 years for rape, assault, sexual assault, and molestation. So, yeah, hopefully if she watches me and her mother walking there as a unit to get this accomplished, we're gonna be right there with her, even though she's not speaking to me now, because even her mother agrees. She said, yeah, you being there might really open up her eyes because I have been there every step of the way. Even though I was left in the dark 3 years after the fact because they knew it. They told me after what happened, I was going to I was going to kill my own relatives and their mama for allowing this treachery to happen. Come to find out, my own sibling has moved out of one of our family residents, unbeknownst to them, and nobody's told us because they don't want to communicate with me because they know I'm still in a living type space. I, 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 I feel nothing towards what and I understand the cause that you're pushing, Roger, and it's a noble cause. But no, I'm 51 and a half years old, and I'm on my black pill too. Let it burn, let it burn, let it burn. There's no time to do this. Hey, you got damn near 70 years worth of indoctrinating buffoonery, witchcraft, malice, contempt with these people. When Vivica Fox in the Foxhole told Ice Cube on national television that day, that was the day I divorced myself from the black community. I have no use for it no more, other than getting what I need to get done in the making sure this boy serves the maximum amount of time for the crime he committed, then jumping on the prosecutor's tail and telling him, hey, don't forget about that other one. It was two that did this, not one. Two are gonna be held accountable. And I want my biological sister to rot and suffer watching me be at this trial, making sure he gets maximum time. You wouldn't let me put my paws on him. You wouldn't let me kill him. So guess what? He go get raped and molested by other men in the Texas penitentiary system. I promise you that. Because that's what's gonna be on his jacket once he gets in there. I feel nothing, but I digress.
All right. Tunnel Runner came back up, so I guess you want to get that last word in. So let's try again, Tunnel Runner. Go ahead. Oh no, you must not have dropped down. Okay, then Inspired Truth Broadcast. You got it. You the one that came up.
Yeah, am I coming in clear?
Yeah.
My mic is actually working. You're not hearing me like super low or anything, huh?
No, you're fine, but we doing closing statements now because we didn't pass the 3 hour mark now. But go ahead.
All right. All
Just
right. So
keep
I
that.
just wanted to say, like, don't get scammed. Okay? Make sure you get a good deal out there. Um, it's and it's good to have some pride in yourself, some type of recognition for what you have, what you're able to accomplish. You have the ability to have potential on that front end. On the back end, you have something that is actually rare, which is called results. Gentlemen, go out there and get yourself some results because that is rare and that is obvious. Because a lot of people ain't doing that for real.
All right, y'all. And I'm going to close it out by saying, look, if you want something to change, you got to be willing to change it. That's just how it is. And at the end of the day, no young lady should have an expectation that she could be 26, 27, 28, 29, 35, 82, and unmarried, but she's a good woman. Those things do not happen at the same time. You can't be old and nobody wants to marry you and be good at the same time because men ain't going to leave women like that on the market. That's a reality. And it's a reality. It's time for us to start making women face. Real talk. Okay. It's very important at the end of the day that the world realizes that you cannot be good and old and unmarried at the same time. Point blank, period. And actually it's going to be helpful to you as a man because right now they do blame you for everything. You can't blame me because some old broad ain't married. It's clearly her own fault. But if we won't say that, don't expect the world to say it either. Y'all have a good rest of y'all day. Long live the habitual line steppers. I'm Roger. I'm right. And I'm out.
Yeah.